Last year, they were 5-6. Last year, no bowl game. For the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, a change was in order. 1 year ago today, Ty Willingham arrived in South Bend. He brought with him a new attitude and produced instant results.
Battle 45, outside 40, 30, down to the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Irish! Arnaz Battle!
Today they face the talented Wolfpack of NC State.
As this Wolfpack team does something no other has ever done. The first 10-win season in school history.
The Wolfpack and the Fighting Irish meet for the first time ever. The Toyota Gator Bowl is next.
Welcome to Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida, and the 2003 Gator Bowl. Where this afternoon, we have two teams that are having wonderful seasons, both with undefeated starts that led to big dreams. And although some late season stumbles dashed those hopes, a chance to finish strong with an important bowl victory. It's NC State against Notre Dame. The Wolfpack greeted by their fans, and there are many here at Alltel Stadium. Good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year. Along with Pat Hayden, Mike Breen on hand, this is an important game for both schools. For NC State, it may be the most important game in the football program's history to add to their great season with a victory over Notre Dame on New Year's Day. And they're very confident they can do so because of this explosive offense, Pat, one that really doesn't have a weakness. They can throw the ball and pass the ball equally well.
Yeah, they are really good on offense, Mike. You're absolutely right. And rarely in college football do you find a team with a 3,000-yard passer, a 1,000-yard receiver, and a 1,000-yard rusher. But indeed, that's exactly what North Carolina State had. You see with the Phillip Rivers numbers, Jericho Cotry, the wide receiver, 6 games over 100 yards. T.A. McClendon, a true freshman, over 1,000 yards and 16 touchdowns, a powerful runner. But this is really driven by Phillip Rivers, the quarterback. He's had a terrific year, his 3rd year as a starter. Very, very accurate, 63% completion, even though they throw the ball down the field a lot. He does a lot of things well, doesn't throw many interceptions, doesn't take a lot of sacks. This is an explosive offense, as you mentioned, 33 points a game.
So what that means, a tough task for the Notre Dame defense, but they have been up to the task all season long, led by a secondary that at times this season has been absolutely brilliant.
Well, they have been great, the whole secondary, but in particular, I think the corners for Notre Dame are the key to this defense, key to this team, if you will. Shane Walton and Vontez Duff. Shane Walton just elected the most valuable player by his teammates, who is an All-American, 7 interceptions. Vontez Duff on the right has returned a punt for a touchdown, returned a kickoff for a touchdown, returned an interception for a touchdown. But these guys will be challenged today, Mike. I think North Carolina State is going to try to go after the corners, particularly Vontez Duff, on a double move that USC had some success with a couple of weeks ago. They want to get deep on Vontez Duff.
Now, special teams is always important, but with these two schools, especially because their special teams has won a number of games for them.
Well, indeed they have, and special teams in a close game usually is the deciding factor. North Carolina State has been sensational this year blocking kicks. 10 block kicks, 27 since Chuck Amato has been there as head coach. They've turned those into 7 touchdowns and a safety. Notre Dame for a couple of years now have played good special teams. The hidden gem, I think, for Notre Dame is their punter, Joey Hilbold. 40% of his punts down inside the 20-yard line.
Two very evenly matched teams here this afternoon. Notre Dame trying to stop a 5-game bowl losing streak. North Carolina State trying to add to their record-setting season. Opening kickoff when we return.
Welcome back to Jacksonville, and let's welcome in our sideline reporters for today. We'll start off with Marty Snyder, who's down with NC State head coach Chuck Amato.
Mike, thanks so much, Coach. Last year before the Tangerine Bowl, you said that was the best week of practice you had ever had before a bowl, but game morning, you knew something was wrong. How do you feel this morning? What does your gut tell you? Can you win?
Well, my gut says we talked about that last night for a long, long time, and I think our players have everything in perspective and they're focused. Now all we can do is hope they go out and play the best they can, and we can't ask them to do anything more than that.
Biggest key to beating Notre Dame is what?
Don't turn the ball over.
All right, covering the Notre Dame sidelines for us today is Dave Burns. Dave?
Hey, thanks, Marty. Coach Willingham is celebrating 1 year as Notre Dame's head coach. He took the 5-6 program and made it a 10-time winner. Coach, what must your team do today to beat NC State?
Well, I think anyone that's watched the bowl games has seen that turnovers play a big part of every football game, and that will be the same today. But we've also got to create some big plays special team-wise and not succumb to the penalties that normally burden most teams that are coming back into a bowl game.
You are without both starting offensive tackles. How will your restructured line handle the ACC's best defense?
Well, we're fortunate that our guys will be put in those positions and have played a lot for us this year.
All right, if he can guide them to their 11th victory of the season, it'll be the 6th time in school history and the first time ever by a first-year head coach. Mike?
Dave, thank you. And those tackles he speaks of, Jordan Black and Brennan Curtin, both not playing. It's a non-football student affairs decision, so the backups need to come up big. As you see the weather, boy, they had some strong storms last night, and there's some clouds, so we might get some precipitation.
I didn't think you stayed up that late to get all that. You know, it started raining at 8 o'clock. I thought you were tucked in bed that early.
Early evening storm, Pat. So North Carolina State, they won the toss and deferred. Adam Kiker, their junior kicker, will go off to Vontez Duff and Arnez Battle. And a beautiful kick from Kiker out of the end zone. Kiker, who was injured earlier this season, back healthy and gets NC State off to a good start. As Carlisle Holiday, the junior quarterback, has made some nice strides this season for Tyrone Willingham. And he's had some help on offense. But that offensive line, again, a little bit different today without Jordan Black and Curtin. But as Willingham said, Jim Molinaro and Dan Stevenson have played a lot, so they're ready to go. Mike McNair starts at fullback, ran 1,000 yards. Battle is the playmaker as the wide receiver. Opening play from scrimmage for the Irish. Holiday will throw downfield. Battle, the intended receiver, and covered beautifully by Lamont Reed. Let's check the NC State defense, which has been at times superb. The front four, Sean Price is the playmaker with fellow seniors Hall, Martin, and Wimsatt. Linebacking crew, D'Antonio Burnett has had a great career. He's the leader with Pollard and Thomas. And the secondary, a good one. Maddox the Rover. Terrence Holt has had a wonderful season with Golden and Reed, some tough corners.
And Mike, there was a personal foul against the Wolfpack on that very first pass. Late hit on Carlisle Holiday. March off 15 yards.
And let's take a look. Pat Thomas.
He is their outside linebacker. It wasn't a vicious hit, but indeed it was late. Pretty good call.
So Notre Dame, 1st and 10 at their own 35. Holiday again will throw under some pressure, and the ball deflected.
This Wolfpack defense, that was Sean Price, number 56, who tipped that ball, can really put some pressure. 46 sacks on the year, led the ACC. His first step down here at the bottom. He is just so quick. And again, that is off Dan Stevenson getting that first start at that right tackle position. Stevenson played some guard this year, but not much tackle. It's a lot different when you're playing out there against those really quick defensive ends. And you saw the quick start by Sean Price.
Price, the junior, they say he's as gifted athletically as any player they have defensively. He's faster than the linebackers. And with a terrific play, you see Notre Dame, the offense, at times they have struggled this season. 2nd and 10. Grant, nice hole, and Ryan Grant spins up to the 42-yard line. Lamont Reed comes up to make the tackle after a 7-yard pickup.
And Mike, this is what I think Notre Dame really needs to do, is to have some balance. They came out, threw the ball a few plays, got the penalty, but they need to run this ball very effectively. Ryan Grant needs to have a big game to beat this team. Last 3 games, only 2.6 yards. He was tired. He was beaten up. He was not the same kind of runner he was in the first 8 games. And so he's refreshed now, but they need a big afternoon out of Ryan Grant.
He's had a month to recover since the USC game. 3rd and 3. Grant again. He's got the first down and more up near midfield. Antonio Burnett brings him down, but another 7-yard gain.
Yeah, only 70 yards passing against USC, 39 yards rushing. So this is a game of redemption for the Irish. I think they were embarrassed about that USC loss. It's also the finish of a great season in 2002, and when you play on January 1, you look forward to 2003. So a lot of things going on here for Tyrone Willingham's team. How
many times have we heard the phrase bad taste in our mouth? Want to get it out. And they've had a month to think about that very difficult loss to USC. A quick handoff again, and maybe a couple of yards. Burnett once again gets in on the tackle as Grant been given the workload early. Antonio Burnett, what a great year he has had. The senior's had over 100 tackles in every season for NC State.
And Mike, he had a broken thumb this year, missed a game with an injury, still had over 100 tackles. I think he's had about $3 billion in his 4-year career at North Carolina State. But what he does particularly well, he is a great short yardage player. Short yardage goal line. This is a guy that is a powerful tackler.
2nd and 9. Rashawn Powers-Neal comes in to give Grant the spell. On the play fake. Holiday under pressure and has to throw it away. Freddie Autry-Lindsey, who was a question mark in playing today with some excellent pressure.
I tell you that the Notre Dame tackles, Molinaro and Stevenson, are having a tough time with the quick rush of these guys from North Carolina State on the outside. Price in particular, Wimsatt, one of the ends, and George Anderson. They'll rotate 3 defensive ends. One of the strengths of North Carolina State's defense are those 3 defensive ends.
They're not a bend but not break defense. No. They're an attacking, aggressive defense.
The corners kind of lock up on you. They try to take those guys away, and then they leave the middle for D'Antonio Burnett to make most of the stops.
3rd and 9. Battle in motion. Holiday, late blitz, throws downfield, incomplete. Greg Golden on the coverage, and a 4th down coming up for the Irish.
Here comes Joey Hildbold. We talked about him at the top of the show being kind of a hidden asset. I think he is for the Irish. A guy, almost 40% of his punts have been downed inside the 20-yard line. I mean, a real effective guy. Your defensive players love a punter like this.
And Jericho Cotchery back to receive. He'll bowl a lot of punts inside the 10 as well. Low, short kick.
And they're putting into a pretty strong wind, I think.
And he'll start at about the 11-yard line.
Great punt. Great punt.
As Phillip Rivers will come on. What a terrific season he has had. Not only is thrown for 18, he's rushed for 10 more. Very experienced and a very poised quarterback.
3 good years.
And he has a superb offensive line. Only 10 sacks they've allowed. Comer's the best of a strong bunch with Riggs, Paulson, Locklear, and Kustra. The freshman running back T.O. McClendon, sensational season. Cotchery, the go-to receiver, but Peterson is good as well, and Burton, a very solid tight end.
And you will see North Carolina State move around as much as any team you'll see in college or pro. Little I formation over here.
Rivers, handoff McClendon, and he's hit right away. Justin Tuck hit him after about a yard, maybe 2. As we look at the Notre Dame starting defense.
Good year on defense, Mike.
Very strong front 4. Budden, Zach Campbell, Hilliard, and Roberts. Goolsby has had a terrific season at linebacker. Brandon Hoyt is starting in place of Courtney Watson. Watson, their leading tackler, is out. And a sensational secondary. Duff and Walton, maybe the best corner tandem in the country. But Earl and Sapp have had strong seasons as well. 2nd down and 8. McClendon. Nowhere. Cedric Hilliard hit him right away.
And Justin Tuck, number 44 as well. Hilliard plays nose tackle. Justin Tuck on the outside. Justin Tuck playing early. Ordinarily, Justin Tuck, number 44, is kind of a pass rusher, a speed rusher on 3rd down. Now, the North Carolina State Wolfpack have been really terrific on their opening drives. They scored on 9 of 13 opening drives this year. And they're a hard team to get into a rhythm against because they can do so many different things. 22 scripted plays. Their first 22 plays will be scripted.
Three wide receivers out to the left. They've had outscored their opponents by an enormous margin in the opening quarter. And Patrick goes right. Rivers has time across the middle, short, intended for Sean Burton, but excellent coverage from Garen Bible.
That's a good defensive series for the Irish. And against a very explosive North Carolina State, the teams have had a hard time getting into a rhythm. Now, you'll notice the good protection once again for Phillip Rivers. He's had it most of this year. Only 10 sacks. Had his tight end open, throwing actually with a pretty strong wind. Nose got down, ball hit the turf way in front of the receiver.
Austin Herbert, who's been inconsistent punting this season, is back. Strong rush. Vontez ducked back to receive. And it goes out of bounds. It'll be good field position for Notre Dame. They'll pick it up and start at their own 42 after a 44-yard punt. We're scoreless early. The Toyota Gator Bowl is brought to you by Toyota. Get the feeling. Notre Dame with their second possession, taking over at their own 42. What a great turnaround this season has been, Pat Hayden.
Yeah, indeed it has. I mean, double the wins from a year ago. Tyrone Willingham, an incredibly focused guy. I think it's transformed his team. They've been very good defensively, good enough special teams-wise. On offense, they've been up and down.
Grant back in. He lost a contact lens. That's why he came out for a couple of plays. Holiday, plenty of time, and complete. Knocked loose, and they're going to say he was down. Gary Gotze made the reception, and Andre Maddox, known for his hits, putting one on Gotze.
Andre Maddox is one of those guys that could play anywhere in the country.
And Gotze's shaken up.
Andre Maddox, number 36. We talk about closing speed. Just got his hand in there, ripped the ball away from Gotze. And that was not a catch. But great play by Andre Maddox. They call him a hidden linebacker because he plays so close to the line of scrimmage. They could have recruited by Florida State, could play anywhere, as I said, in the country.
And Gotze, meanwhile, who's done a strong job this season at tight end, shake it up.
And Tyrone Willingham said before the game, in a bowl game, you want to finish off a season right. You don't want to have all the penalties and the turnovers. The other thing you hate to see in a bowl game are injuries to, particularly to returning guys, which Gotze is. Grabbed his left knee.
Ball pops up after he hit the ground. So he's going to be taken off. Tyrone Willingham. As you see, Maddox, by the way, Maddox, speaking of injuries, T.A. McClendon, their tailback, had a shoulder injury bothered him all season. It was from a hit in practice by Maddox.
He hits like a linebacker, runs like a safety. We have two other tight ends, Jared Clark. Gotze's a converted quarterback, so is Jared Clark, number 1, and then Billy Palmer.
Palmer comes in now.
All of them have played this year, but Gotze's had a real solid season. 15 catches as a converted quarterback. Tight end position was used much more effectively this year for the Irish than it has been in the past.
3 wide receivers for Holiday. 2nd and 5. Battle makes a move, but good pursuit, and maybe picks up a yard. Maddox again in on the tackle.
Stop by number 36, Andre Maddox. Gain of about 1.
So a 3rd and 4 coming up. Where has Holiday progressed the most for you, Pat?
Well, I think, Mike, he had 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I mean, at the beginning of the year, he started off very strong as a passer. I think he feels a little bit throttled. I mean, one of his greatest assets is that impromptu play out of the pocket when he scrambles, but he just has not been handled well this year. He's not been able to run much by design this year by the Irish.
In the shotgun, he'll run. And knocked down way short Pat Thomas.
Yeah, what a play by Pat Thomas. Sean Price. Pat Thomas looked like he was rushing the passer, saw the quarterback draw. That was a design call. Thomas off the corner here. Well, that's Price. 56. And there's Thomas. Yeah, it was 56. Sean Price rushing the passer, then fell back in to stop the quarterback draw of Carlisle Holiday. Boy, that Sean Price is quick off the ball and quick to react.
You see him move so fast, it's hard to believe as a lineman how quick he is. 4th and 1 coming up.
Well, we talked about D'Antonio Burnett being such a good short yardage linebacker. This is the kind of area where he's played all year long for the Wolfpack. He's number 45 right in here.
So Notre Dame going for it on 4th down. Powers kneel. Has the first down before he's hit by Thomas. But a 2-yard pickup. And they'll move the chains.
I'd always give it to the guy named Powers Neal on 4th and 1, wouldn't you? That's good coaching. He said, there's Chuck Amato, played at North Carolina State, both football. He was also a wrestler. He looks like he could still wrestle.
He was a good wrestler. In fact, a couple of undefeated seasons as a wrestler.
Yeah, the other thing that was interesting to me, he was a mathematics major. How many Division I coaches do you know that were mathematics majors? Well, Chuck Amato was in 1869 and from North Carolina State.
Grant, big hole. And Grant tripped up. After a nice gain, Terrence Holt comes up with an 11-yard pickup.
What a patient run that time by Ryan Grant. I mean, you said a big hole, Mike, and indeed it was, but Ryan Grant had to wait for that. He's going to hold right in here. Then he sees a little cutback, and we're supposed to go right here, but he just kind of waited. Earlier in the year, Ryan Grant, the coaches said, was kind of rushing things, but that was quietly a very good 11-yard run.
He's off to a good start, and another first down for Notre Dame. Ball now at the Wolfpack 36. And tripped up. Pat Thomas, who's been very active, maybe 3 yards on that play.
You don't have to worry about Pat Thomas hustling for the Wolfpack. This is the guy that plays their weak linebacker, one of those chaser kind of guys, very, very quick. Also a very, very good student at North Carolina State. And got off to a good start. His very first play a year ago as a North Carolina State player caused a fumble. And it's been pretty good ever since then.
Only a sophomore, with the graduation of Burnett. Thomas could be one of the leaders for next year. Both teams bring back a lot of talent for next season. 2nd and 7. Holiday dumps it off. Complete to about the 26-yard line. Jared Clark with the reception. Freddie Autry-Lindsay makes the tackle.
Jared Clark, number 1, is probably the best pass receiving.
And that was a penalty marker, Pat.
Yeah, Autry-Lindsay, was it a face mask?
You get the feeling the way Amato's talking to him.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. 15 yards tacked on to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Big penalty as Autry-Lindsay grabbed him. That's Ed Ardito, our referee for today.
That's 2 15-yard penalties against the Wolfpack in this first quarter. And as Tyrone Willingham was saying before the game, you do see a lot of penalties generally in playoff games. It's like a first game of the year. You know, they haven't played really since Thanksgiving weekend.
Notre Dame played, lost to USC back on November 30th. NC State's last game was November 23rd when they had that terrific win against Florida State.
They're really kind of different ends to their regular seasons.
Ball now at the 14-yard line. Holiday with time, complete to Battle. Battle hit right away, but gets down to the 2. Terrence Holt immediately wraps him up, but a 12-yard gain.
The ball came loose, but you saw the official said the ball was down. If they can protect Carlisle Holiday, that'll be an issue today. He has the capability of drilling the ball in between defenders, as he did right here to Arnaz Battle. Good protection to begin with. Terrence Martin, number 90. There he goes. There's the protection. Really good protection by Jeff Fain and Sean Mahan. And Arnaz Battle finding that little hole in that zone defense. Well thrown by Holiday.
1st and goal at the 2. Grant. Oh, stop. Second effort won't get him there. A wall of defenders.
D'Antonio Burnett, number 45. It was Pat Thomas in there as well, but D'Antonio Burnett, number 45, the starting inside linebacker, who came into us yesterday into a meeting, kind of lit up the room with his smile, but says, this is where I love it the most as a middle linebacker. And he's been particularly effective down here in goal line situations because of the powerful kind of player that he is.
He was like a fire hydrant, 5'10", 230, although Chuck Amato says when he puts on a football helmet, he's about 6'4", and can run as fast as anyone. 10th play of the drive, 2nd and goal. Holiday will try himself. Down again. And denied. Burnett right there with Marcus Hudson.
Well, when D'Antonio Burnett was talking to us yesterday, he said, I make a lot of these tackles, but it's because of the line shots, and Holiday is hurt here, but Burnett, see how he's not getting touched? There's no linebackers on him. Got terrific. You know, Lindsey, I think, number 31, kind of cleared the way for him. He had clear shot at the running back, did Burnett. Well-designed defense. Holiday takes a shot, and Holiday is down. Boy, did he take a shot by D'Antonio Burnett. They call him Thunder Dan because of hits like that.
They are hitting here in the first quarter, but real concern right now for Notre Dame as Holiday remains down. So big concern for Tyrone Willingham for his starting quarterback. Notre Dame with a field goal, but their starting quarterback back to the locker room after getting banged up. And as you see, a great defensive stand, the goal line stand for the NC State defense.
Remember, they lost their tight end, Notre Dame did too, in Gary Godsey. So this is a fit, powerful, good tackling, hustling team that North Carolina State has.
They had no choice but to get in shape. Chuck Amato had what he called the belly board. All the fat guys on the team had their picture taken without a shirt. They put it up in the athletic room where all the teams and all the sports get to see. Kind of embarrassing guys to get into shape, and they certainly got in shape.
Well, Chuck Amato said when he came that there was a fat football team. They lost 700 pounds collectively in that first off season from January through August of his team. And as you saw in that last defensive stand, this is no longer a fat, out-of-shape team.
In fact, Scott Kustra, their starting tackle, he was worried because he said even the teams like the girls cross country, they saw us without our shirts on. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Seta will kick off. This is the #1 kickoff returning team in the nation. And Lamont Reed has returned 2 for touchdowns. Penalty marker. Reed eludes some tacklers, but gets up to the 12, but there's a flag on the play.
Well, we talked about special teams being a key. Notre Dame has punted the ball well. It's another penalty against North Carolina State. Remember, they kicked the field goal, and they've covered well on special teams. So thus far, the Irish have had the advantage on special teams. Tyrone Willingham talked to us yesterday about finishing 2002 off correctly, particularly after their last regular season loss against USC.
During the return, an illegal block in the back above the waist. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Let's get an injury report and go down to Dave Burns.
Well, Mike, Carlisle Holiday was taken off the field into the locker room. The trainers were working on his left shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder. His return is uncertain at this point. Also, Gary Godsey, they were working on his left leg. They've iced his knee. Godsey stayed on the field. Stayed at the bench, guys.
All right, Dave. So they'll start at their own 4.
Here's where your offensive line has to help you grind out a first down, either in protection or opening some holes.
Rivers hit as he throws, but complete. Sean Burton, the tight end, gets it up to the 13. An important play. Brandon Hoyt makes the tackle. Rivers took a shot after he released it.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers has taken a lot of shots this year, but not many sacks. Only 10 sacks and over 400 passing attempts. And what that tells me about a quarterback is that he's smart, he makes quick decisions, and he gets the ball out of his hands. And trust me, offensive linemen love quarterbacks who get the ball out of their hand quickly and avoid those sacks.
And Burton, the tight end, he's caught 21 passes this season. 2nd and 1.
Empty backfield. Phillip Rivers has been a good quarterback sneak guy this year.
Dumps it off just in time.
It's a clever little throw to Burton.
Burton once again.
Is that a handoff or a throw?
Goolsby made the tackle.
But, you know, you talk about presence, Mike. That's one of those things where Phillip Rivers is a smart guy. He knew where his outlet guy was. Sean Burton, believe me, was not the leading receiver. He's right there here blocking. It's a heads-up play by Sean Burton as well.
Well, the coaching staff tell us he gets us out of stuff.
Yeah, indeed he did right there at a bad field position.
There's such great command of the offense And such a confident quarterback. And they get the first down. McClendon. And Notre Dame's done an excellent job on McClendon. Jerome Sapp with the initial hit. 4-yard pickup.
T.A. McClendon, the freshman, another flag goes down. And again, this is, I think, going to be one of those personal fouls because it happened very, very late. And this one on Notre Dame. So 3 15-yard penalties here in the first quarter. 1 on Notre Dame, 2 on the Wolfpack.
Dead ball, personal foul, late hit, 15 yards tacked on to the end of the run, automatic, first down.
Well, here's T.A. McClendon right in front of the Notre Dame bench. He's down. Well, that's not a late hit. I don't know. T.A. McClendon was not hit late. Maybe somebody else was, like Sterling Hicks.
It didn't look like the Walton and Hicks. That didn't appear to be anything deserving of a flag.
It had to be somewhere else. Had to be somewhere else.
So first penalty against Notre Dame, and the Wolfpack have the ball at their own 36. Rivers complete after the catch. Sterling Hicks goes out of bounds, but he gets into Notre Dame territory. Complete.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things about Phillip Rivers that impresses me, Mike, is that he has such a high completion percentage, 63%, but he guns it down the field a lot. I mean, in his 3-year career, he's thrown, 144 completions over 20 yards. Look at that gun. Maybe just a pinch late, but got it there in front of Sterling Hicks and in front of the corner. Remember, they want to test those corners, particularly on double moves. Fake a little in, fake a little out, and then go deep.
Rivers, the junior, every year he seems to add a little something. Now he splits out.
Yep.
Brian Peterson shuffles to McClendon, but McClendon hit right away. Jerome Sapp and Glenn Earl in on the tackle.
Yeah, Marty Galbraith, the offensive coordinator, they do more things on offense than anybody I've seen this year. And against Florida State, they did everything. This is generally a wide receiver. Brian Peterson played high school quarterback. And that little shuffle pass inside, and they moved Phillip Rivers outside. They did that 3 times against Florida State pretty successfully.
They like to let Peterson throw, too. He's thrown a bunch of passes this season. They pick up 3, 2nd and 7. Irish recognize it well. Rivers will run. Gets across the 40.
Rivers will flow, as a matter of fact. That was supposed to be an inside.
You were waiting for that.
I just heard, I stayed up late last night, past 8 o'clock. It looked like it was supposed to be kind of a draw play. Once again, Phillip Rivers saw the blitz, said, hey, I have to get out of that, made the best out of it, picked up a couple of yards. Important down right now for the Notre Dame defense on 3rd and about 4.
Justin Tuck made that stop.
He's a good pass rusher. He's down here.
4 wide receivers for the Wolfpack. Rivers has time and caught Catchery as the first down at about the 27-yard line. Preston Jackson right there, but not before the 11-yard pickup.
And Mike, Phillip Rivers talking to us yesterday about Jericho Catchery said, and you get it anywhere near him, and he'll make the catch. Low, high, inside, outside. He's had a terrific breakout year. We said at the top, over 1,000 yards, 600-yard games, 5 catches, over 50 yards this year for the Wolfpack. Big year.
Majority of his catches either for first downs or touchdowns. That one for a first. Rivers 4 for 4 on this drive.
Again, empty backfield again.
Quick throw, Catchery breaks some tackles and gets down to the 17.
What a nice block by Brian Peterson, number 2, Mike. He was the guy that played quarterback a few plays ago on this drive. This time, one of those quick screens to Catchery, number 82. But the reason he picked up the first down was because his other wide receiver, Brian Peterson, put on a terrific block. There's a guy who's worked very hard to make himself a good player, stays out every day after practice. The trainer throws him 100 passes every day after practice.
They say pound for pound, he's the strongest player on the team. And the first quarter comes to an end. Notre Dame trying to snap a 5-game bowl losing streak. They lead 3-0. But the explosive offense from North Carolina State on the move and have a first down at the Irish 17 here in the 2003 Gator Bowl from Jacksonville, Florida. Injuries becoming a big story for Notre Dame. Starting tight end Gary Gotze with the leg injury, going back on crutches. Carlisle Holiday injured himself and went back to the locker room. And let's not forget, they're without their 2 starting tackles for that non-football student affairs decision with Brennan Curtin and Jordan Black. This starts to take its toll.
Yeah, there's clearly not at full strength. I think Courtney Watson really is the biggest loss. Their leading tackle on defense and one of the emotional leaders on the defensive team.
Watson again a couple of weeks ago in practice hurt his knee, so he's not playing. NC State now
throwing the ball pretty well because he's been protected well.
They've also done a good job on McClendon, who fumbles the football, jumps on it, lost it again. It appeared he recovered again. We'll have to wait and see. Glenn Earl right there.
Yeah, Glenn Earl looked like he was shot out of a cannon. I mean, you talk about a guy that got some penetration. I mean, that is the definition of penetration. McClendon is at a great freshman year, has fumbled the ball a little bit. Watch off the corner, number 19. Tries to get blocked there by Moyer and gets his helmet on the ball. McClendon scoring touchdowns, breaking tackles, doing a lot of things well, but he has not held onto the ball well. And I think it's one of the biggest adjustments, Mike, for freshmen running backs as they come into college football is securing the ball, because you get stripped so much more in college football than you do in high school football.
Plus, he had a broken bone in his right wrist, which is dominant hand, and he wore a soft cast on it for a while. That's not on today. They lose 4 on the play. Rivers to McClendon. Nice catch. And he's knocked out of bounds. McClendon caught 39. That's actually his 40th reception, so he's done a little bit of both.
I mean, this guy had unbelievable numbers, T.A. McClendon, in high school. Folks, 71 touchdowns his senior year. Senior year alone.
1 year.
And what a great adjustment on that. Scored 7 touchdowns in their high school championship game. You know, a year ago, exactly a year ago, he was playing in a high school all-star game. And here he is playing in a January 1st Gator Bowl.
He's the ACC Rookie of the Year.
And he should have been. He is going to have, if he stays all 4 years, a great career there.
And he's had a number of injuries during the season, so it's amazing what he's done with the injuries. But they say he's the healthiest he's been since September right now. 36. Rivers, complete, Hatchery, first down and more. Very close, but just shy of the touchdown. Preston Jackson makes the tackle, preventing the score.
Pocket presence. We've seen it several times by Phillip Rivers. He kind of scooted up in the pocket that time. You know, sometimes we've seen him, carry the ball when he knew it was a bad play. Just kind of jumped up in the pocket, and he's tall enough at 6'5" to find those crossing guys right over the middle. And that's what Cotry did. Now, if he was down, I don't know if he was down, that might have been, should have been a touchdown, right? He hit the pylon with his feet in.
Very close. Terrific effort from Cotry. First and goal at the 2. McClendon again with 16 touchdowns during the season. So they get 17 right back. That one was easy.
Really good series, Mike, for the Wolfpack. They passed it. They ran it when they had to in the end zone. You know, some guys have a nose for the end zone. McClendon's nose starts at about the 15-yard line, A talented North Carolina State team that does a lot of things well. And Check Amato has got this program turned around.
It is a program on the rise. Yeah. There's no question about it. Adam Kiker.
They've missed 7 extra points this year.
Kiker's missed a couple, but again, he was injured early in the season, and he's kicking much better now. A terrific drive for the NC State Wolfpack. 12 plays, 96 yards. The freshman gets in the end zone. The Wolfpack with the lead.
Welcome back to Jacksonville. Notre Dame, NC State in the Gator Bowl. Carlisle Holiday, the starting quarterback for Notre Dame, is back on the field. He's taking snaps. The coaching staff wants to see if he can take them without pain. They worked on his left shoulder. Carlisle keeps flexing his left hand. It's unsure as to whether he'll come back in the game.
All right, Dave, good news for Notre Dame. With all the injuries going on, both teams have had injuries this year, and both teams have really had to use their depth during the course of the season. So a lot of these backups have played a lot of snaps.
But, you know, it happens in football. I'm always surprised when coaches, always act surprised when there are injuries. You're going to have them in this game.
Kiker with another terrific kick. You get Vontez Duff and Battle. Duff is an excellent return man. Notre Dame 7th in the nation in kickoff returns. And it appears his back's feeling pretty good. So Notre Dame will take over at the 20.
Good drive by North Carolina State, 96 yards. And we talked about Phillip Rivers, what a nice job he did. That's T.A. McClendon, number 44, who ran in from the 2 yards for the touchdown. But very efficient, good protection. Rivers made some great decisions. 7-7 for 72 yards on that drive. Talking about good decisions.
Not bad. So Dillingham right now remains at quarterback for Holiday. Battle in motion. Quick pass on his Battle. Breaks the tackle. Gets up to about the 28-yard line. Battle is a guy that you've loved in terms of what he's accomplished. You know, the whole thing coming in as a quarterback. Finally gets the starting role, but the injury knocks him out of that. They changed positions, and he's made the most of being a receiver.
Never complained and done a very good job of making an adjustment. Catching 48 passes, the most by receivers since 95.
And he says, I'm not an experienced receiver yet. Howard's kneel across the 30 to about the 32. Good for a first down. Matty Lawson on the tackle.
You see number 91 there. Yeah, you talk about Manny Lawson. This was a guy. He's also a true freshman. Last year from North Carolina, in the high school championship track meet, his team came in 3rd. But he scored all their points. He won the 110 high hurdles, the 200 meters he won the high jump, and he was 3rd in the triple jump. Scored every one of their points, and their team finished 3rd.
And he's had an impact in his first year with the Wolfpack. The handoff to Grant, and he's hit right away behind the line of scrimmage. George Anderson in on the tackle.
Every coach that I've known since Amos Alonzo Stagg, and I didn't know him, but they've always talked about balance. You want to be able to run it, and you want to be able to pass it to be really an effective football team. Chuck Amato's team has that. They have balance. They can beat you running and passing. Right now, Tyrone Willingham's team does not have it. They've run the ball pretty well this year, and the season they've passed it well at times, but not consistently enough.
He hopes that the West Coast offense eventually will click in with these players. 2nd and 11. Dillingham tosses. Battle to catch. First down at the 46. Juggle it. No, incomplete.
Yep. It was a good tackle. Now there's a ball where a receiver has to use his hands to catch it, so you prevent a play like that. If you use your hands and bring it down, when Greg Golden, number 22, tackles you, you don't drop it. But he kind of hugged it with his body. The ball was wobbling a little bit, which made it more difficult to catch with your hands. But Greg Golden right there just kind of strips him of it.
Greg Golden has had a strong season.
Both ways, right?
Yep, started the season as a starting tailback. And now the sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, the starting cornerback. Dillingham to Battle. Breaks one tackle, but slowed down enough. Maddox slowed him down.
And Terrence Martin, number 90. Mike, that hustling defensive tackle. And this North Carolina, we talked about them being in shape, lost 700 pounds. These guys get after you. And Terrence Martin, number 90, is one of those guys that does just that. You hustle down the field in a screen play, and you make some good things happen, force a punt.
Such an aggressive defense, so Joey Hilbold will come on. Cotchery back to receive. Still early here in the second quarter. NC State leading 7-3. Watch out for the Wolfpack on punts. Oh, very close. That's a penalty. Roughing the kicker.
That'll be a first down for the Irish.
So another big penalty against NC State.
And I think it was a Greg Golden, number 22, who kind of roughed him. Yeah, I think that's the 15-yard variety that'll give him the first down. During Chuck Amato's career here, they've blocked 27 punts and kicks. So you don't want to discourage your guys, but you have to take the right angle, and that's just what Chuck Amato is talked on. Yep, your angle. And if you go inside, you have a block. If you go too wide, you run into the kicker.
They blocked 10 kicks this year.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker on the defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
I don't know if he got blocked in there by Jerry Clark.
Yeah, looking at it that way.
Number 1. See, you get blocked into him? Yeah, he got shaded. He was going to run into Hillbold regardless.
Of the 10 blocks this year, 8 of them have been on punts, but that a costly penalty, so Notre Dame has the ball at the NC State 49-yard line.
Scored 7 touchdowns and 1 safety off those 10 block kicks this year. So it clearly is a weapon for the Wolfpack.
Grant has some room, but taken down from behind. Pat Thomas again.
Well, you're right about Pat Thomas. It looked like there was going to be a hole there. It looked like Ryan Grant had some green grass ahead of him, and then the red and white jersey of Pat Thomas got in the way.
Pat, now you've seen Dillingham play a little bit this year. He's had some time. He's had some starts. He's had some game-winning drives. What are your impressions of him?
He's an accurate thrower. I mean, he had the game-winning toss against Michigan State early in the year, had a costly interception against Boston College when the Irish had their very first loss, but he's a calm guy. And that's what I think offensive linemen like. You don't want your backup quarterback being too nervous. Pat Dillingham is not.
Just a sophomore. Throws incomplete. Battle. Trying to play tackles, and we're there again, but Pat Thomas, maybe a yard pickup.
Are you sure they're not more than one guy wearing number 52? He is making a lot of plays. Penalty flag down.
A late flag, and it's going to go against Notre Dame.
Well, that evens it. Each team has 2 15-yard penalties. It's actually Notre Dame's 3rd. Now there's Pat Thomas.
Dead ball foul, personal foul on the offense. 15 yards from the succeeding spot. 3rd down.
Well, Tyrone Willingham was worried about penalties and turnovers in a bowl game, just like you are in your very first game.
That's Ed Ardito, who's been an NCAA official for 20 years. Actually played college football, Division II. He's a pretty good cornerback, we understand, at the University of New Haven.
He looks like a good man-for-man kind of lockdown cover corner, doesn't he?
He's been busy here in the first half.
Well, it's 3rd and forever. This is not the Irish kind of down.
Big pressure. Dillingham has to get rid of it and deflected. Thomas right there on the play, but Martin with the big rush, and Sean Price as well.
Yeah, Sean Price 56, Pat Thomas 52. Those guys have been around the ball and around the quarterback a lot this first half. Sean Price, number 56, can turn around a game in a pass rush situation. If you get into a game where you have to throw the ball a lot, that guy, 56, you had better take care of him. And then Pat Thomas read that screen perfectly. Really a good defensive game plan by North Carolina State. Off the punt block again. A lot of guys up here.
Hillbold back on the field. Kotry back. And takes a good bounce for NC State. They'll take over at about the 23. So a terrific defensive performance in that series from NC State. They lead it 7-3. The Toyota Gator Bowl is brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Let's send it down to Marty Snyder on the sidelines with NC State.
Well, Mike, to completely submerge his players in Notre Dame football, Chuck Amato made an interesting decision this week. He took a hotel channel at their hotel, and they made it completely Notre Dame football games. 24 hours of a loop, 6 days of nothing but Notre Dame football. Tight end Sean Burton said, hey, I was so sick of seeing it, I couldn't wait to hit someone in a gold helmet, and I was so fired up for this game today, I was tired of seeing Notre Dame football.
I've heard of odd couple marathons and Brady Bunch marathons. How about Notre Dame football marathons?
Just when you're hoping to watch The West Wing or Friends, you get stuck with the Notre Dame Purdue.
No Terminator movies.
Yeah.
Amato has done such a superb job in building this program. As you said earlier, it's one of the real programs on the rise. And he knows how important this game is to play in Notre Dame on New Year's Day, which would cap off a victory to cap off their best season ever. Quick throw. And perhaps a couple of yards pick up Devontae Edwards on his first reception. Glenn Earl with the tackle.
Devontae Edwards, tackled by number 39, Brandon Hoyt.
So second down coming up.
Second and 6, number 28.
Today's 1st and 10 line brought to you by Toyota. Here at the Toyota Gator Bowl.
Well, the way this game's going so far in the first half, if Notre Dame's going to win it, they're going to have to win it again on defense. They're going to have to create some turnovers. Their offense is struggling, so they need to find a way to get a fumble or cause an interception.
It's a scenario they're used to. Rivers, quick throw, and nicely by Cotchery. Brandon Hoyt makes the tackle. Again, Hoyt playing in place of Courtney Watson, but an 8-yard pickup, and Cotchery's been very active.
Brandon Hoyt, number 39, got there, but a little too late in here. Again, Cotchery is a guy that can go down the field. We talked about having 5 catches for over 50 yards, but he's been really sneaky quick on these short routes over the middle.
Not an overly fast receiver, but very reliable.
All that movement and offense takes away some of the aggressiveness, particularly of blitzers. McClendon.
And McClendon with his best choice. An 8-yard pickup. Hoyt makes the tackle.
You know, Mike, we talked about high school running backs making the transition, and we talked about they fumble a lot. But a lot of high school running backs try to create too many 40-yard runs. They want every run to be a 40-yard run. But watch how he runs right down the middle. This is what I think he's done remarkably well this year for an 18-year-old freshman. He hasn't tried to create 40-yard runs.
Notre Dame has been issued a warning. That's their first warning. Just a warning, no foul. No penalty.
Okay. I guess the sideline encroachment rule. Too many guys trying to play referee, I guess, on the sideline.
Gentlemen, you've been warned.
But anyway, this T.A. McClendon has just been, you know, when a 4-yard run hole's been there, he's made 8 yards. And when there's been a 6-yard hole, he's been made 12 yards. But he hasn't tried to create every run to be a 40 or 50-yard run.
And he's a guy you can't arm tackle.
No.
Play fake. Rivers under some pressure. And tripped up by Hoyt. Well, he gets the first down.
Most guys who are 6'5", 236 pounds move like the Chrysler Building. Phillip Rivers, you know, has some quicks. I mean, he's not going to win too many 40-yard dashes, but he has enough. Remember old Roman Gabriel, the great North Carolina State quarterback from years ago? He used to buy himself a little time like this. And actually, Phillip Rivers in his freshman year threw for more yards than Roman Gabriel did his entire career.
Amazing
at North Carolina State.
And again, he's not the fastest. He's got the awkward motion. He just gets the job done.
I remember Sonny Jurgensen used to throw it a little strange, but it was one of the best passers I ever saw.
And a penalty marker. That's going to be pass interference on Preston Jackson. He grabbed him, Sterling Hicks.
Well, the Irish have felt their corners have been an asset all year long. Against USC, USC got after them pretty good with their wide receivers, and so far North Carolina State is doing the same. Right up here at top.
Defensive pass interference. Ball placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
Let's send it down to Marty Snyder with more on Rivers' throwing motion.
Hey, you guys talk about whether or not it is bad to have that throwing motion. They sent a tape to Mike Holmgren, the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks and arguably one of the best quarterback coaches in football, and he said, don't touch it. It's fine. He's accurate. He's one of the most accurate passers in the country, so leave it alone. Don't mess with it.
Yeah, like I said, Sonny Jurgensen did okay with his throwing motion. You know.
If it's successful, and it has been 1st and 10. Rivers, couple of fakes, gets away from a few defenders, and has plenty of room now. Goolsby hits him at about the 37. But another nice run.
You know, when he was being recruited out of the state of Alabama, some teams wanted to make him a wide receiver. Some teams wanted to play defense. He wanted to play quarterback, and North Carolina State fans are glad they did. Look at the tight end down here in the middle. But the rush, he's still open. The rush forced him to kind of step up in the pocket earlier. That's what a good pass rush can do. It can really cover up some mistakes. And Sean Burton is, as you can see, wide open.
Rivers has been around football since he was 5, son of a coach. He was the water boy for his dad's teams. He just has those football instincts.
And grew up quite a Notre Dame fan.
close to a first down as Josh Brown gets his first carry. Brandon Hoyt on the tackle.
Philip Rivers grew up as a Catholic in Alabama. His grandfather took him to see the movie Rudy. His grandfather, a big Notre Dame fan, and as a young boy, he saved his money for a Notre Dame jacket, had a Notre Dame banner in his room. He actually went to a camp at Notre Dame his senior year. It really wasn't highly recruited because they were running more option in those days than drop back passing. But his grandfather in particular is quite an Irish fan.
So his first Notre Dame game back in 1951, and says although he still loves the Irish, he's pulling for the Wolfpack today.
His grandson's playing pretty well.
And his grandson just got a first down.
You mentioned 10 rushing touchdowns Philip Rivers has had this year. And he's very good getting that momentum, getting that big 6'5", 236-pound body moving forward. Good offensive line, sir. Jed Paulson, the center, 53, and 54, Sean Locklear in particular. Wow. That was a big surge on a short yardage play.
Their offensive line, not only have they not just given up 10 sacks, and you spoke about how often they pass the ball, they've made life for McClendon a lot easier. It's just been a terrific year for the offensive line. Hatchery flips it back. Peterson's going to throw.
Look out.
Rivers can't catch, so Peterson's now 0 for 6 throwing the football this year.
You know, you got the feeling that Philip Rivers didn't really want to catch that one. That he felt somebody coming. And I think Brian Peterson realized he wasn't quite as wide open as he had hoped. They've run this play a couple of times. Rivers is going to try to sneak out over here. But Brandon Hoyt is over there, and so was, I think it was Preston Jackson. Didn't fool the Irish secondary.
Peterson actually had that. He didn't make that completion earlier, that little toss. An active backup quarterback.
And wide receivers. He hadn't caught a pass yet today, but he has 137 receptions on the year, in his career.
Rivers hit as he throws. Country, nice catch. Oh, and he's hit hard. Glenn Earl leveled him after Gorsby grabbed him down low. But a first down after the 18-yard pickup.
Remember when the good old days when playing wide receiver meant you didn't get hit very hard? Glenn Earl, number 19, has been sticking people like that all season long. But Jericho Cotchery, number 82, right here, the guy in motion. And Philip Rivers said to us yesterday, you throw it anywhere, high, low, inside, outside, he will catch it. And you see the way he adjusts to the ball, catches it with his hands, and secures it. So that means when he gets hit, he's not going to fumble. He's got those strong hands around the ball.
The junior from Birmingham, Alabama, averages almost 19 yards a catch. And he has been Rivers' #1 receiver. Rivers. He caught it. Terrific catch from Peterson. Sat right there, draped on him.
Well, there were like 4 blue jerseys. Now, that was a ball that probably Philip Rivers should not have thrown.
Talk about threading the needle.
Yeah. Now, a quick release. We talked somewhat awkward, but it is a quick and accurate release. And Brian Peterson, I don't know how he caught that one. Watch right over the middle. Watch how many. Boy, I'll tell you, that's a ball that could have been picked off by Garen Bible. I think they were even surprised to see him throw it.
He's now caught a pass in 39 consecutive games. In a first and goal.
Fumblerooski. Fumblerooski to McClendon.
No signal.
Yeah. Remember the old Fumblerooski Nebraska used to run?
Now they say touchdown, Pat.
They put it right between his legs, did Philip Rivers. Went down low, handed it right between the legs to T.A. McClendon. Another trick play that has worked for a touchdown. And McClendon's happy to give the ball to the referee. What a drive. What two impressive drives. They played power football. They played finesse football. They've thrown it. They've run it. And then a trick play for the touchdown.
They said they were a dangerous and explosive offensive team because they really don't have a weakness. Even if they're conservative, you throw in these successful gimmick plays.
Yeah. Well, as I said, they did everything against Florida State. Ooh, that was a low one.
Low, but it's successful as Kiker puts it through.
Well, Mike, this was, a brilliant call because it worked. But watch, Philip Rivers takes the snap, and then he hands it right there underneath the legs of T.A. McClendon. And then it just becomes an off-tackle play. So we've seen Philip Rivers play wide receiver. We've seen him play in a kind of a shotgun formation and hand the ball to his tailback, T.A. McClendon. But in any event, The Wolfpack puts up 14 points on the board in this first half, and they lead the Irish 14-3. Watch this trick play. This is Phillip Rivers. Here's McClendon, the tailback. Watch what happens. It's kind of in a single wing formation, and then whoa, right in there between the legs, and then it just becomes an off-tackle play. I mean, a sensational call and a tough inside run by McClendon. It did look like Notre Dame was ready, and Kent Baer, the defensive coordinator, was irate after that touchdown. But two great drives by North Carolina State.
McClendon again showing good patience.
Yep.
And gets his second touchdown. Kiker will kick off with Vontez Duff and Arnail's battle back. So another good solid drive.
And now the Irish have to respond. 5 minutes remaining here in this first half. They have to find a way to get some balance and to really, in particular, I think, get something out of their passing game.
Battle lets it go out of bounds.
They'll get good field position. That's a start.
Kiker had a couple of superb kicks early, not that time. So Notre Dame will take over with 1st and 10.
Kick out of bounds. Notre Dame elects to take the ball at the 35. 1st and 10.
Now we'll take a break. Pat Dellingham remains in a quarterback for the Irish, who could use the good offensive drive. Two long, solid drives by NC State. Gives them a 14-3 lead, just under 5 minutes remaining in the second, as Pat Dillingham remains in as quarterback for the injured Carlisle Holiday. They'll take over at their own 35.
And Mike, this is where those new offensive tackles have to really play well for the Irish if they're going to get back in this ballgame.
Grant pursued and thrown for a loss. Let's get an update on Holiday. We'll go down to Dave Burns.
Well, Mike, Carlisle Holiday stands on the sideline. He is done for the day. They've pulled him. His left shoulder is hurting him too much to continue. So Dillingham will be the way to go for the Irish the rest of the afternoon.
Well, we certainly hope Pat Dillingham can finish the game, but it raises a very tough question for the Irish if Dillingham is ineffective or gets hurt. I mean, they've been trying to redshirt their third-team quarterback, Chris Olson, who has not played a snap this year.
1 yard loss. Dillingham knocked down. Price
and Maddox. Sean Price has had 9 sacks on the year. He's returned 2 fumbles for touchdowns. Mike, you talk about the kind of speed that he has. You know, the faster than any of the linebacker, even though he's a defensive end. Guys, stay at home. The very disciplined defense. Even if he could have gotten that ball off, it would have been a short completion to Billy Palmer.
He's just a big play guy. And Price's play sets up the 3rd and 11.
His first 2 steps are unbelievably quick.
Dillingham has some time. Intercepted. Rod Johnson with the interception.
They rush the passer well, and they can cover. Chuck Amato's team got off to a 9-0 start, lost 3 in a row, finished with a big win over Florida State. More wins ever in their 111-year history because of plays like this. Look at Maddox again. Maddox is kind of in the mix, and then Rod Johnson read the route perfectly. That's Golden, number 22, gets a good jump on it. There were 3 Wolfpack defenders had a shot at that one.
Johnson, his 2nd interception of the season. The Wolfpack take over with over 4 minutes remaining in the second. They've had back-to-back impressive drives. And this one straight up the middle.
How about Phillip Rivers, Mike? 10 of 11 for 111 yards. He's had 10 straight completions. He's managed the game well. You know, just hasn't made any, doesn't force the ball. He's made some really good judicious decisions. And he's got a lot of those fangs on his helmet. There's Pat Dillingham, who had that costly interception against Boston College. That was a costly one right there.
Opportunistic plays. Both teams have relied on those throughout the season. 2nd and 8. And the Wolfpack Wolfpack have to call timeout.
I thought that was a trick play. They run so many of them.
It wouldn't surprise you the way the Wolfpack have played all season, and they are playing well here in the first half.
Back at Jacksonville, Notre Dame losing to North Carolina State 14-3, and North Carolina State has done it both on defense. As you see, 45, Antonio Burnett stuffed the Irish run. Great defense. And then an offense. This culminated in a 96-yard drive, and then the old Fumblerooski for their second touchdown of the day. So Chuck Amato very, very happy, as he should be. His game plan offensively and defensively has worked. And Tyrone Willingham, Mike, needs, as he has all year, to call on his defense for some sort of big play and a score. They've had 7 scores on defense this year, and they desperately need one right now.
Defense might be a little tired right now. Wolfpack with 2 long sustained drives to take this 14-3 lead. Rivers so sharp.
Give his offensive line some credit too. He has not been pressured much.
Dumps it off. Burton. And Burton down by the first down marker. Shane Walton on the tackle. Let's go down to Marty Snyder.
Mike, Sean Burton was just bragging about his quarterback a few moments ago on the sidelines. He said he's not throwing bullets out there today. He's throwing bullseyes. This is the best half of football he's played all year long.
You know, what, 11 for 12? That's not so bad.
Not bad at all. Burton, meanwhile, he's more than just an honorary offensive lineman. He's become a good receiver. One of those guys that likes to speak his mind. He calls Chuck Amato Lucifer when they get on him a little bit too much.
He asked to come see us yesterday. He didn't, he wanted to come talk to the announcers. Oh, here comes another trick play. Oh my gosh, wide open
with the catch. Brian Peterson with the completion, the former high school quarterback, and Joe Gray on the reception.
Now, it's a nice play, but terribly, terribly disappointing for the Wolfpack, because that should have been a touchdown. Terribly disappointing. Here's the tight end over here, Joe Gray. He's the backup tight end. Again, Peterson, nice fingertip catch, and then throw, and he's waiting. We thought it was a punt, and maybe that's why he's a backup tight end.
It's only the 3rd reception of the year for Gray.
Yeah, but that should have been a touch, don't you think, Mike?
Absolutely. Well, there's still a good position and plenty of time here. Ball now at the 13. NC State has taken control here in the second quarter. McClendon, good pursuit. Justin Tuck quickly with a tackle.
Well, as we said, good teams can beat you in a variety of ways. And North Carolina State, as we've seen in this first half, they can do it. They can do it with power. We can see it, in the passing game with Phillip Rivers. They can do it with trick plays, as they've had. Here's your tight end again down here. Here's the backup tight end. He's behind the line of scrimmage. Everybody bites on it, and he is wide open. Boy. Well-coached North Carolina State team.
Chuck Amato, of course, so many years at Florida State, now in his 3rd season with the Wolfpack. Nice catch from McClendon. Took it off the turf. Goolsby and Glenn Earl on the tackle.
Don't you sense there's a little bit of a changing of the guard in the ACC with Chuck Amato and Ralph Friedgen? I mean, Florida State has been so dominant for so many years, but Chuck Amato has beaten Florida State now twice in a row. Ralph Friedgen has had another great year at Maryland. Florida State's still going to get great athletes, believe me.
And he wants another timeout. Amato leading the team to their first 10-win season in school history. McClendon limping.
Yeah, that's a familiar sight this year. He's had a lot of those kind of games where he's limps around and
he's had the wrist injury, the shoulder injury, the calf injury.
And when we're talking to these North Carolina State players, Mike, they were talking, Notre Dame's it's a big game for us, but a lot of these guys haven't really gotten caught up in it. As a matter of fact, we asked McClendon yesterday about Newt Rocky. Never heard of him. Never heard of Frank Leahy, Eric Parsegan. Never even heard of Jim Brown. For goodness sakes. Knows Barry Sanders, of course. But for alums, for North Carolina State alums, this may be the biggest game in North Carolina State history.
Perhaps most watched, and again on New Year's Day to cap off a season that they've already set a record with 10 wins. To do it against, such a storied program.
Yeah, the finish of one season, start of the next. That's Marty Galbraith in there in the headset, the offensive coordinator. And Chuck Amato It looks like he has his chest inflated by pump each morning.
And he's got his lucky sunglasses on.
Yeah, exactly.
He is 8-0 with the glasses. Now, he has a contract with a sunglass company, but he never received them. So what he's done is he's worn these glasses, and he's won every time he's had them. And he took them off in the middle of the year, and those were the 3 losses.
Exactly.
Now, you know how coaches are superstitious.
Absolutely.
So they're 8-0 with the sunglasses, 0-3 without. He put them back on for Florida State, and they're certainly on today.
Rain, shine, snow, any kind of weather, he was going to wear those things today.
They're a little hip for a 57-year-old guy, huh?
Well, he's saying, hey, maybe some of these young kids might appreciate it.
3rd and 6. Rivers under pressure. Penalty marker. Dumps it off to Cotchery. Cotchery gets in, but again, a flag on the play.
Hey, what field presence? I mean, I've seen Phillip Rivers on tape for a couple of years now. The first time I've really seen him live, Mike, and he is a very impressive guy.
NC State says it's against Notre Dame.
A lot of penalties. A lot of penalties against Notre Dame.
Offside on the defense. Line it up in the neutral zone. Penalty is refused. Touchdown.
Jericho Cotchery. I mean, all 3 of the stars have been what has been advertised. Watch him step up in the pocket. Good pass rush by Ryan Roberts. But again, he's matched up with against the linebacker Goolsby, and Cotchery is just too fast for a linebacker.
His 6th catch. Biker on for the extra point. 21-3. NC State in complete control here in the first half. Right now, let's go back to New York. We send it to Jimmy Roberts.
Jimmy Roberts in New York. Coming up on the Sun America Halftime Report, we'll take a look back at a great year of sports here on NBC. The Olympics, Tiger Woods, NASCAR, and Notre Dame's return to glory among the topics we will cover. We'll also have some big NFL news, a big coaching move, and the league has named its most valuable player. Plus, we'll update you on all of the bowl action taking place this afternoon. It's all coming up on the Sun America Halftime Report. But right now, let's head back to the Gator Bowl and rejoin Mike, Pat, Dave, and Marty. Happy New Year's, guys.
All right, Jimmy, as the Wolfpack dominant here in the first half.
That's kind of a nice little paint job. Well, remember we talked about the old pocket presence. He just gets up. It's kind of pushes it right there. Take it out of my hands, Jericho. And then dash into the end zone. Really well-designed offensive scheme by Marty Galbraith, the offensive coordinator. Boy, they've done it all well.
And the cliche sees the field well. Boy, does that apply to Rivers?
Absolutely.
13 consecutive completions for Phillip Rivers. Montez Duff, good kick from Kiker.
Need to play right here from Duff.
It's up to about the 23-yard line. So Notre Dame will take over with 1:10 remaining. Greg Golden makes the tackle. Again playing without Carlisle Holiday, the injured shoulder, so Pat Dillingham, the backup quarterback, expected to go the rest of the way.
Well, Omar Jenkins, the wide receiver, has not caught a pass today. He's one of their starting wide receivers. Arnez Battle has been really ineffective. They try to catch him, throw some short passes, let him run. They've shut down the tight end. I mean, there's really not a lot of open room for this Irish team right now, but they're going to have to take some shots. There's so many guys up close to the line of scrimmage.
McNair on the handoff. Gets up to about the 28. You wonder, again, without their 2 starting tackles, the effect that has had. Pat Thomas makes the tackle, and then another penalty. Ed Ardito's been very busy. Personal foul against Notre Dame.
That's the 3rd personal foul penalty against Notre Dame. North Carolina State has matched them with their 3 as well. But when you're really struggling on offense, you have to be perfect in the penalty category.
After the whistle, we had a dead ball foul, late hit on Notre Dame. Half the distance to the goal, the down count, 2nd.
There you see Jeff Fain after the whistle.
He generally goes from whistle to whistle, and sometimes after the whistle. Had a sensational year for the Irish, has Jeff Fain. may not come back for his senior year.
Dillingham in 2nd and 19. Oh, almost intercepted by Maddox. That's a dangerous pass. Maddox catches that. There's a good chance he's in the end zone.
How about Andre Maddox, a guy that's played so well close to the line of scrimmage, this time in coverage. And guess who's chasing him? 52, Pat Thomas. Yeah, one that he probably should have caught. Generally, when you see defensive backs making that play, that's why they weren't wide receivers, and I say that seriously. You know, they're great athletes, but they don't necessarily have great hands. But he can really cover, and he can really tackle.
He's their 2nd leading tackler. He's the rover. They call him the hidden linebacker. 3rd and 19. Under a minute to play in what has been a dominant first half for the Wolfpack. McNair.
You know, in North Carolina State, you should call a timeout. They really should call a timeout here because Notre Dame has to punt.
And he's got 1 remaining. There it is.
Yeah, good. Now, they can play it a couple ways here, Mike. You can go for the punt block, and they've blocked 8 punts this year, as we've talked about. Or you let them punt and get good field position. Your quarterback is hot and get a chance to really try to knock them out here in the first half.
40 seconds remain. I think the way Amato coaches, the way this team plays, I think they go for the block.
Well, he has done that so well this year. And he said to us yesterday that with special teams, there are so many ways to score on special teams, and we want to be dominant on special teams and just as aggressive in the kicking game as we are on defense and on offense.
And 2 key guys to watch again is Terrence Holt, number 9, and Manny Lawson, 91.
Lawson has 3 blocks. Holt has 12 in his career, 3 this season. Number 91, Lawson. They have this machine where they measure your height, how high you jump. They can't measure Lawson. He goes past what they can calculate.
Well, he's 6'5". He's got those long strides, so it doesn't take him a lot of strides to get back there.
And they have 5 different position coaches fighting over him for next year. He could play 5 different positions for the Wolfpack. I think they're going to set up a return here and give themselves a chance. Lawson's right in the middle to the center's left. He's right about in here.
Hildebrand will kick to Cotchery.
Yeah, see, there's one I think they should not have had that penalty. Now, there was a penalty goes down. The question is, was he blocked into the punter?
It's a hold against Notre Dame. So they'll decline that.
And get unbelievable field position.
Holding on Notre Dame. Penalty is refused. Take the result of the play. First down.
See, when you're aggressive on special teams, even if you don't block it, Mike, you can affect it.
Well, I'm sure the coaching staff have told them over and over again about these guys. Yep.
Yeah, that was the whole. It was Carlos Pierre-Antoine who held Holt. Yeah, he got tackled. Good call by the official, and Terrence Holt, who's had a terrific year as a free safety and as a special teams player. Terrific career as a special teams player.
Just an 11-yard kick for Hildebrand, who has had a strong season. So they take the ball at the Irish 28, leading 21-3.
The Irish can have any chance. They've got to force a stop here. They cannot allow any more points. They just don't have enough offense to match North Carolina State.
Penalty marker, and Rivers throws it out of bounds. Darrell Campbell with good pursuit.
Big old Scott Kustra, number 75.
We just saw Rivers throw an incomplete pass.
Well, it may not count because it's going to be a penalty. So
the streak is on.
Still on. Scott Kustra, the right tackle, part of that good offensive line, number 75. I talked to him yesterday. He said, hey, I wasn't part of that belly board. I was in shape. I didn't have my picture up there in the weight room. We're working on Darrell Campbell. Yep. Oh, yeah. He just
holding on the offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Still first down.
Kustra is another one of those guys. Huge Notre Dame fan, even though he grew up near Raleigh. Said he got 1 letter from recruiters from Notre Dame and still has it, as Chuck Amato did. He received a letter from Notre Dame. He said, his grandmother in particular, right over from Sicily, was excited about that.
Kustra from Cary, North Carolina, has overcome some knee surgeries. He's had a strong season, as has the entire offensive line. McClendon. And McClendon hit right away. Ryan Roberts.
Well, Notre Dame has had more problems offensively than Martha Stewart has had with the SEC here in the first half, and they're going to have to get it solved at halftime.
So Rivers throws it into the ground to stop the clock, and that stops the streak. Aaron Willingham, no doubt, will have a busy halftime talk with his team, trailing 21-3, as Philip Rivers has had his way with the Notre Dame defense. They reset the clock to 8 seconds. Three wide receivers.
And here's Gator, the guy who's been so effective. He's the inside of the three.
Rivers goes for the end zone. Incomplete.
And that'll do it. First half. Good first half by the Wolfpack.
They started off the momentum with that terrific goal line stand. Let's go hear what Chuck Amato has to say. He's with Marty Snyder.
Coach, pretty awesome performance in the first half, up 21-3. How do you keep the emotion up?
We got to. It's a 60-minute football game. We're not going to fall into that trap. It's happened to us once before, and we just got to go in there. If I got to sing to them in Italian, but some way I got to keep them going.
All right, go sing, Coach. 21-3, NC State with the lead at half.
All right, Marty. Philip Rivers with a sensational first half. Brilliant. 13 of 16. 134 yards and a touchdown. And the freshman McClendon with a couple of rushing touchdowns. And the NC State defense, their usual superb work. They lead it 21-3, halftime of the Gator Bowl. Let's go to the Sun America halftime report back in New York.
This is the Sun America NBC halftime report. Here's Jimmy Roberts.
And from all of us here at NBC Sports, Happy New Year and welcome to our New York studios and the Sun America halftime report. Notre Dame, which last won a bowl game 9 years ago, trailing NC State 21-3 halfway through the Toyota Gator Bowl. We'll take a look at some of the other games taking place on this busy New Year's Day in just a few minutes. But first, something of a tradition around here. Look back at a great year in sports as seen here on NBC. From a memorable 16 days in Salt Lake City through a season of rebirth in South Bend and lots of great moments in between. Moments we've all shared together.
Championship. And at Bethpage, he is now the People's Champion.
The 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup champion, Tony Stewart.
That's beautiful.
And that is going to put it away. And now Bill Elliott joins the list of winners of the Brickyard 400 in Indy.
One of the most amazing comebacks in NBA history. This crowd is absolutely delirious.
This is the kind of performance you just dream about.
50 years wait, it's over. Wait no longer, Canada, the gold is yours.
And that's it. Europe has won the Ryder Cup.
Yes! And one of them has given way.
I can't tell you how many times during the course of the year people will ask me if I truly understand what a great job I'm lucky enough to have. And after watching some of those moments go by, well, the answer is, yeah, I guess I do. What a great year it's been, and so much fun for all of us here at NBC Sports to be a small part of it. Log on to NBCSports.com for more on the year in sports. Check out a special interactive timeline of 2002 featuring a month-by-month review of the biggest stories of the year in sports. It's all at NBCSports.com. NFL news now, and there's plenty of it on a normally quiet day for the league. Despite his stints as head coach of both the Patriots and the Jets, there are many who still regard Bill Parcells as a Giants guy. And so for all of them and many others, this may be almost impossible to imagine. But now it is true. Parcells is set to become only the 6th head coach in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. In a piece published today on ESPN.com, the 61-year-old Parcells ended the speculation saying, quote, "I'm going to do it," end quote. The site also reports his contract to be 4 years for $17.1 million. One piece of delicious irony in all of this: next season, the NFC East plays the AFC East. In other words, in addition to 2 games against the Giants, Parcells' Cowboys will play the Jets and the Patriots. And as fate would have it, those games are scheduled for the Meadowlands and Foxborough. And meanwhile, if you want to talk about something which might have once seemed incomprehensible, how about this? Rich Gannon, league MVP. The Associated Press reports that the 37-year-old Gannon, who was undrafted, is set to become the first Raider to win the award since Marcus Allen in 1985. He threw for almost 4,700 yards in leading the Raiders to the top seed in the AFC. Gannon is the second oldest to be voted the MVP, just 2 months younger than was Y.A. Tittle when he won the award in 1963. Gannon beat out Brett Favre and Steve McNair for the award. One of the most colorful aspects of college bowl games, the bands. So let's head right back down to the Gator Bowl and pick up a little bit of the NC State Marching Band, as they're called the Power Sound of the South. Take it away. And when we return, we'll check out the scores of all of today's bowl games, and we'll have some highlights of the first half between Notre Dame and NC State. First, though, we'll step aside for these messages. And we welcome you back. A look at the band of the Fighting Irish performing at halftime of the Gator Bowl. Well, we have a moment. Let's take a quick look at some of the highlights from the first half. Late in the first half, Irish driving. Quarterback Carlisle Holiday looking for the end zone, and he is met by linebacker D'Antonio Burnett. Holiday forced out of the game, replaced by Pat Dillingham. Early second quarter, T.A. McClendon bursts in for the score. Wolfpack up 7-3. Then quarterback Philip Rivers takes the snap, puts it between McClendon's legs, and he goes in for the touchdown. NC State up 14-3 at this point. Now they have lengthened the lead at halftime. 21-3, a great half so far for Philip Rivers and the other unsung true freshman of the year, T.A. McClendon. Log on to NBCSports.com for complete post-game coverage of the Gator Bowl. Plus, check out why Pat Hayden feels the Irish under coach Tyrone Willingham will be able to live up to even greater expectations next season. It's all at NBCSports.com. Let's quickly update you on other bowl games going on this afternoon, starting in Tampa with the Outback Bowl. Florida facing Michigan, and here's a matchup of two former national champions. These programs never having faced each other before. The story here, running back Chris Perry, 4 touchdowns for Michigan. That's also a school and Outback Bowl record. LSU and Texas in the Cotton Bowl. Phil Simms' son, Chris Simms, has certainly had his problems here at the Cotton Bowl, but not today. 28 unanswered points for the Longhorns since trailing 17-7 early in the half. And in the Capital One Bowl, an early score, not much going on here. Penn State ahead of Auburn 3-0. The story, Larry Johnson so far held in check. And a reminder that following the Gator Bowl at 4 o'clock Eastern, we'll bring you figure skating, Brian Boitano's Skating Spectacular. That follows NC State and Notre Dame right here on NBC. And speaking of Notre Dame and NC State, two programs who've never faced each other before, one thing that the two schools do have in common is legendary head coach Lou Holtz. The 65-year-old Holtz is currently coaching at South Carolina. Now, Holtz took NC State to national prominence in the early 70s, compiling the best 4-year record in school history. And Holtz returned Notre Dame to greatness in the late 80s, winning 100 games and a national championship during 11 seasons in South Bend. Holtz was famous for his one-liners, one of which came when he was coaching at Arkansas. With the Razorbacks on the verge of an Orange Bowl berth, Arkansas fans pelted the field with oranges. After the game, Holtz quipped, "I'm glad we didn't clinch a berth to the Gator Bowl." At halftime, the Toyota Gator Bowl, NC State leads Notre Dame 21-3. We'll send you back to Mike Breen and Pat Hayden for the call of the second half right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Sun America NBC Halftime Report. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
Halftime in Jacksonville, Florida. North Carolina State with a dominant first half as they lead Notre Dame 21-3. And once again, Happy New Year to everyone, along with Pat Hayden, Mike Breen on hand. Everyone knew North Carolina State was good coming in, but boy, they were so impressive.
You know, they were impressive on defense. They were impressive on offense. They did some good things special teams-wise. I mean, this is a complete football team. You see why they won 10 games, more than they've ever won in their history. They have a chance of winning 11th game. And Amato and his staff had this team well prepared. You always worry about a bowl game. You know, you're going to be on edge. I think the combination of playing Notre Dame and a well-coached and well-designed game plan has resulted in 21 first-half points.
Now, ironically, the numbers perhaps not reflecting the dominance as we look at some of the halftime stats. Some of them certainly the passing yards, but surprising with the time of possession, and even Notre Dame, at times they moved the football.
Yeah, I'm shocked at the time of possession. I thought North Carolina State dominated that, but you know, they just haven't had any oomph. It's been too hard for Notre Dame. They, you know, they haven't had any really big plays. They've only completed 6 passes. 4 of those have been to Arnaz Battle. So if they're going to have a chance of getting back in it, first thing they have to do is stop North Carolina State. You know, they're going to be on defense the first series, and then they're going to have to manufacture some big plays. I don't know whether that's special teams, on defense or offense, but they're going to have to manufacture a big play or two.
When you say stop, they've got to stop Phillip Rivers, because Rivers was brilliant in the first half right from the start.
Well, you know, you get off to that lousy first start. Remember that terrible pass? That was his last incompletion to the Hail Mary at the end of the half. This guy completed 13 straight passes after that first one. And I think, Mike, which impressed me, it was to 7 different receivers, by the way, was just kind of the field presence. Making the right decisions, stepping up in the pocket, getting rid of the ball before he got sacked, calling the right audibles. He did everything, and that's the reason his team is up 21-3.
And Notre Dame will have to do without their starting quarterback, Carlisle Holiday, done for the game. Pat Dillingham is in. They've also lost their tight end. They began the game without their starting tackles. They need to overcome. Third quarter when we return. Third quarter is set to begin from Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville. North Carolina State leading 21-3. Well, what does Tyrone Willingham do? Well, Dave Burns is with him.
That's exactly what we're going to ask him, Mike. Coach, at halftime, you had a lot to cover with your team, I'm sure. What did you tell them?
Well, the first thing we've got to get back to being Notre Dame. And right now, we're not Notre Dame. We're kind of on our heels. Okay, we've got to get where we're aggressive and playing the game Notre Dame style. Then we've got to get more consistency within our offense. We've got to find a way to get some points up. Initially, we started out running the ball well, but that's gone from us. We've had some incompletions, and probably more than anything else, uncharacteristic of our program, we've had some penalties.
And what do you tell your team, Coach, as their leader, where penalties are concerned? Is it their attitude, or are they just making mental mistakes?
Well, it's all of the above. But the first thing is the penalties we had were personal fouls. And we don't have personal fouls. Okay, that's just foolish football, and we don't play foolish football.
All right, they'll try to play excellent football this second half. Coach will get things started here. They have trailed twice this year at halftime, 3 times actually, and they lost 2 of those games. Mike?
All right, Dave. In fact, he said it. They were not the more aggressive team in that first half.
You know, they've faced, for the last 2 games they've played, they've faced red-hot quarterbacks, which has been part of their problem. Carson Palmer was hot, and Phillip Rivers has been hot. It's tough to defend that unless you can, you know, get some pressure on them. They've had some success this year blitzing quarterbacks, but they were not able to really put enough on Phillip Rivers to throw him out of his rhythm.
But let's not forget, they're missing some key guys. Not that injuries are an excuse here, but without Holiday, Dillingham's going to have to go the rest of the way. Gary Gotze, the starting tight end, and the 2 starting tackles are out, and those things begin to add up. Makes your margin for error much, much smaller.
But what you really would love is to get the ball first, but there's Courtney Watson, their leading tackler for the year. Hurt his knee back in South Bend practicing before they came to Jacksonville. And that is a significant loss for the Irish defense, as good as they are. But again, up to the defense to put a stop on them, force a punt, get decent field position. Then Pat Dillingham is just going to have to hang in there and create some plays for the passing game.
So Seta will kick off. Again, North Carolina State, the best in the nation in kickoff return average, led by the man on the right, number 28, Lamont Reed, who returned 2 for touchdowns. Greg Golden's a pretty good return man as well. 21-3, and a whole half of football left. Seta, good kick, and Golden's not going anywhere. So
it'll be interesting to see, Mike, how aggressively North Carolina plays it here in the second half. I mean, because their defense has dominated. They know Notre Dame is struggling on offense. Do they play conservatively, you know, run the ball and punt, play good defense, or do they just keep coming out and winging it? You know, knowing Chuck Amato, the way he kind of plays, you would expect them to wing it. If they're going to run the trick plays, you know, so be it. That's the way he's played most of his season this year.
So referee blew the whistle. Something with the timing. And there's Rivers' numbers in the first half.
Yeah. Incompletion his first pass. Hail Mary at the end. In between 13 completions and 13 very good decisions.
In all season, he only threw 10 interceptions.
And I think that's the ratio, the touchdown to interception ratio, the most important for a team. And he was 18 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions on the year.
His touchdown numbers down a little bit because they ran the ball so much. McClendon was such a factor. Yeah. They'll throw on first down. He'll run. Justin Tuck able to wrap him around. Let about a 5-yard pickup. Cedric Hilliard also in on the tackle.
Another good decision by Rivers. 21-3 lead. You know the circumstances of the game. He's a coach's son. We talked about the field president. Don't force it. Do not force the ball if you don't have to. Even if you take a sack or throw it away. Instead, he picks up about 6 yards.
So a 2nd down and 4. Reminder, today's 1st and 10 line brought to you by Toyota. Rivers has run 5 times for 27 yards. McClendon the lone setback. And some movement on the offensive line, so they'll bring it back 5 yards. Kustra.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
You know, in spite of that penalty by Kustra, the right tackle down here, he has played very well. He and the other tackle, Chris Colmer, up here, number 70, have done a very good job of forcing a pocket and allowing Rivers to kind of scoot up in the pocket, which you've seen him 2 or 3 times, including on the 1 touchdown pass to Kotchery. This is an offensive line that I think has really been the key to North Carolina's offensive success this year. You talk about the quarterback, you talk about the running back, but it's been that offensive line that's done most of the heavy lifting.
2 seniors, 2 juniors, and a sophomore. McClendon gets the handoff. Justin Tuck gets him from behind. Nice play from Tuck, who's made a lot of big plays this season.
Well, one thing the Irish have done a pretty good job on is shutting down McClendon. Came in with over 1,000 yards, had 9 carries for 17 yards in the first half and gained another yard there. That's 10 carries for 18 yards, and if my math is correct, that's a 1.8-yard average.
He's banged up again. I'm not going to doubt you on that, by the way.
I can always do one given those 10s and 20s.
I can't.
Well, Giacomo could. He's a math matron.
3rd and 11. Important time for Notre Dame. Josh Brown in the backfield. Rivers.
Oh, and a catch.
Short of the first down. Yeah. Sean Burton has it, but he's a couple of yards shy.
I think it's a face mask, and a penalty comes down. There's a penalty flag comes down. It looked like a late face mask. Boy, yeah, just what Tyrone Willingham was saying at halftime. We got to cut down the penalties. But Shane Riggs, the left guard, Chris Colmer, the left tackle. Boy, did he good.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. 15 yards tacked on to the end of the run. Automatic, 1st down.
Mike Goolsby grabbed it.
Yeah, easy call. And instead of punting the ball away, they have 1st down in very good field position. But I was just saying, it was Shane Riggs, the left guard, Chris Colmer, the left tackle. Those guys, offensive linemen never seem to get enough credit. Well, McClendon's going to need a nice rest after this bowl game. He has been beaten up again today.
He'll get a nice long rest. Dump out of the backfield intended for Josh Brown. Shane Walton right there on the coverage. He would have leveled him if he caught it. So 2nd and 10 coming up.
Well, this Irish defense has 8 of the 11 starters returning next year, so they've been dominant most of this year. They're going to have a chance to be in a very good defense a year from now. Shane Walton, number 42, you just saw there momentarily, he is leaving, a guy that can't bear the defensive coordinator. He really has done an unbelievable job with this defense this year. I mean, he has created an attacking, aggressive defense that has scored touchdowns, that has shut people down.
Please reset the game clock to 12:51. 12:51 on the game clock, please.
And this defense, although they've struggled today against a very good North Carolina State team, have had just a wonderful year.
Bear's gotten some calls. He's going to be a head coach.
Yep. Well, he interviewed for the Utah job.
2nd and 10. Brown stays in the backfield. McClendon still on the sideline, shaken up. Peterson in motion. Good rush. And there's the first sack, Cedric Hilliard.
With a little help from Darrell Campbell. Hilliard and Campbell both, number 50, number 60 in there on that play. And that's the emotional lift they're going to have to do. This defense is going to have to make it happen. Watch inside. 60 is Campbell right there. He's getting held, by the way, too. Derek Campbell got held, but still made the sack with the help from Hilliard.
Loss of 8. Hilliard's 3rd sack. Or Campbell's 6th sack. As it's 3rd and 18. The Notre Dame fans trying to urge on the defense. Rivers under pressure, and it's dropped. Josh Brown couldn't hold on, but Rivers had heavy pressure.
Well, twice Notre Dame has actually stopped the offense, but remember the one penalty. So they did their job. The Notre Dame defense did their job to open up this second half. So do you try to block a punt here, Mike? I mean, change the momentum of the game? A little bit more pressure there than we've seen from the Irish. Justin Tuck, I mean, you have to change the complexion of the game some way.
And especially the way the offense has struggled.
Yeah. Got to create some field position somehow.
Low kick, Montez Duckville backtracking, starts at his own 15. And taken down at about the 32. Autry Lindsay in on the tackle. 49-yard kick, 16-yard return. Irish trailing 21-3 will take over when we return.
Back to Jacksonville, Florida. NC State leading 21-3. T.A. McClendon on that last drive for NC State went out of the game. He has an injured shoulder. It is a sprained shoulder officially. Jamie Call, the trainer, has just looked at him on the table there, and he is in very much pain, and they do not think he will be back for the rest of this game. He's going to try to come back, but his return is doubtful at this point.
Marty, thank you. As Notre Dame will take over at their own 32. Chuck Amato's team has dominated, but now the Irish with a good defensive stand despite that personal foul, where they need to finally take advantage.
Yeah, and they've tried Arnez Battle 4 times, but they have yet to get the ball to their other talented receiver, Omar Jenkins, who has caught 34 balls this year, had some big games late this season for the Irish.
Dillingham to Grant. And Grant maybe a yard.
And first down is going to be key for them, and they are getting stuffed on first down.
Pat Thomas, who has been so active today with another tackle.
When you're not a really efficient passing team, Mike, unless you can get 4, 5, 6 yards on first down, it gets very, very difficult.
McClendon going back to the locker room. Not near the goal line, he was effective. Other than that, the Irish defense stopped him well.
But that shows you the balance that North Carolina State. They get one thing shut down, and they find another way to score touchdowns.
2nd and 9. Oops. Now we'll have a penalty. Of course, the pointing begins. So we'll hear from Ed Ardito, our referee.
Wow. Boy, jeez. Sure looked like the North Carolina State guys.
Dead ball foul, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
I didn't see anybody move there, did you?
That doesn't look like a good call.
Okay, look at it one more time. No, that's that should be at North Carolina State.
Yep, that's a bad call. But it's 2nd and 14 for Notre Dame. So Dillingham in the shotgun. Grant has some room. Ryan Grant, it's up near the 40-yard line. Terrence Holt on the tackle.
Excuse me, Mike. They started the game like that with some real solid runs with Ryan Grant, and then they just kind of ran out of gas. They just didn't have any of the consistency. Now, this is a good bounce by Ryan Grant, inside and then outside. Stevenson, number 74, doing a pretty good job on his guy, Jeff Fain, the center. But that was a good read and then bounce by Ryan Grant.
I know it's still early here in the 3rd quarter, Pat, but this is a huge 3rd down play.
Indeed. And Arnez Battle has generally been the guy they try to get the ball to in these situations.
That's Battle in motion. That's Battle with the football. Maddox hits him. Battle's still going.
Great run.
And he appears to have the first down. Maddox, who's a hard hitter, got a lock on him, but Arnez Battle kept going.
Determined run by the senior Arnez Battle, who knows what's at stake. You said it was a big play. I think Arnez heard you. He certainly knew it. They had to have a first down. He got it for him. Move the chains. But they're still, you know, they cannot afford to be too methodical. He gets hit short of the first down marker. You could see it. And then really actually the hit by George Anderson, number 34, the defensive end. Kind of pushed him away. Looked like he dropped the ball at the end.
Well, that looked like pretty close to a fumble, if not one. But they do get a first down. Dillingham, quick drop, looking for Omar Jenkins, and there's a penalty. There it is. Marcus Hudson with interference.
And that's what they need to give your wide receivers some chance. Now Marcus Hudson, number 1, is a pretty stout corner who likes to jam you. Good size, 6'1", 193 pounds, just locks on you. But he really is kind of hanging on Omar Jenkins way too long. And they get the call.
They didn't disguise it at all.
Pass interference on the defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
We told it before, but Pat Dillingham, I think, is one of those great Cinderella stories in college football, Mike. A year ago or last spring, 14 quarterback for Notre Dame. Non-scholarship player. Matt LaVecchio transfers. Jared Clark gets moved to tight end. Next thing you know, he's the backup quarterback and with a full scholarship at Notre Dame.
Then he started the Stanford game after coming in from Michigan State.
Has had his moments.
And Ryan Grant gets some moments. Grant gets down to the 32, close to another first down. There's Andre Maddoxon and another tackle.
Best sequencing of plays we've seen from Notre Dame. A little run, mix in a couple of passes. Even if you don't complete it, you got the penalty. Real good pull here by Sean Mulligan, number 65, the right guard. Watch him. Mulligan kind of knocks his guy out. That's Burnett. And then the good read by Ryan Grant. There's so much that goes into being a running back. You have to be physical, you have to be fast, you have to be able to take shots like that, but you have to be smart and patient. And that's what Ryan Grant was in that run.
2nd and 1. Right back to Grant. Oh, and Grant hit right away. As Sean Price knocks him down.
Yikes. I stay away from Sean Price. You know, the other guy was in there was 34, George Anderson, their other end.
Sean Price.
Anderson has had another good year for them. Here's Price. Well, you know, you just cannot leave him unblocked. It's one of those plays where the tackle just kind of bumps this guy. He's going to block a linebacker, but you can't leave him alone.
Hey, Pat, you know, I know it's still early in the 3rd quarter, but this is a big 3rd down play.
I think I've heard that before, but it's true again. But you know what? They have to go for it if they don't make it. So
Grant. I don't think he got it.
And it was D'Antonio Burnett again, that short yardage player we talked about. Short yardage and goal line. D'Antonio Burnett rises to the occasion. And I think Tyrone Willingham's got to go for this one. Although he lost yards on that one. It's a very long field goal. You wouldn't want to punt it, would you? Yeah, they're going to go for it.
It would be a 50-yard field goal.
Yeah. Now, ordinarily with Carlisle Holiday, you had a lot of options with the quarterback running the football. Pat Dillingham isn't near the runner that Holiday is. So they're more limited.
4 wide receivers for the Irish. 4th down and 1. And more. Ryan Grant with a big play for Tyrone Willingham.
And a good run. Fain and Mahan and Milligan. The center and then 2 guards. Watch how they get off the ball. They stay low. They drive the defensive line. North Carolina State back for one of the few times today. And then Ryan Grant, that's an ugly run, but that's what you want on 4th and 1. You don't want to try to make 40 yards. You need 2 yards, and that's exactly what he got.
So they're down to the Wolfpack 29. Dillingham, incomplete. Battle going the wrong way, or Dillingham's passed the wrong way. Lamont Reed right there on the cover.
I think Pat Dillingham saw Lamont Reed, number 28, jump what he thought was going to be a slant. Arnez Battle saw the same thing and said, hey, I better go outside here. So good play by Lamont Reed. Yikes. It's tough playing quarterback.
Pat Thomas has been all over the field.
Hasn't he?
The sophomore from Miami, Florida, has just played a superb game.
Yeah, a real speed player.
Powers Neal in the game. Dillingham, the quick drop, Battle has it, and hit right away at the 24-yard line by Maddox.
Oof. And Maddox has been involved in a lot of collisions. A lot of pushing and shoving going on too now. But Andre Maddox has played very, very well in this football game, as he has all year. Chuck Amato really very excited about all the guys he has coming back next year, including Maddox, who's only a sophomore.
The coaching staff, they say he's had a great season. Dillingham hit, caught by Battle, but short of the first down.
Boy.
Greg Golden on the coverage, another penalty.
You know, great offense. I mean, they came off the corner with both Maddox and Terrence Holt, the free safety, and Dillingham had no chance.
This is a key call right here. And a long explanation for Ardito.
But best drive of the day for the Irish. I mean, Tyrone Willingham has to be happy with what he's seen. Personal foul. Yeah, they give him the first. Nope. Play it again.
After the play, we have offsetting dead ball fouls. Personal foul against the defense, personal foul against the offense. They offset, the down counts.
So 4th and 5 coming up for the Irish. Did not see where it happened.
Now, it looks like they're going to go for it here, which down 21-3, you know, I'd kick a field goal here. I think it's too early to go for it. 6:40 remaining here in the third quarter. And they really haven't thrown the ball downfield particularly well. This is 4th and about 6.
It would be about a 41, 42-yard field goal, and Seta has that ability, but Tyrone Willingham going for it. Has time, goes for the end zone, intercepted. Rob Johnson with his second interception of the game. Battle was covered by several defenders.
You know, Rod Johnson's a nickelback. He didn't even start, and yet he's the guy that's intercepted 2 passes. Now, I know Pat Dillingham had to make something happen. You know it's 4th down, you don't get sacked, right? So that wasn't necessarily a poor pass, but you would have hoped somebody would have been more open. They jump on Battle. He's not covered there early, and he's not covered late. 3 white jerseys around the Irish receiver.
Notre Dame with their best offensive drive of the game, but they come away empty and still trail it 21-3. 21-3. NC State still with the comfortable lead. Notre Dame moved the football, but just unable to get points.
Yeah, I think, you know, the way they're playing defense, it's more than comfortable. Unless Notre Dame on their defense, as they have all year long, scores. I don't think now it's not just a turnover. I think they need to score on defense.
Burton, the tight end, in motion as they start at their own 20. Josh Brown gets around and steps out of bounds at about the 22.
Well, as the North Carolina State coach, you'd love to see him stay in bounds, but boy, did he take a shot right in front of the Notre Dame bench. Yeah, you watch the hit late on here, but again, knowing the circumstances of the game, stay in bounds if you can. His momentum kind of carried him out, and he could just get drilled. That's once again Glenn Earl, I think.
They call Glenn Earl the hitter or the headhunter.
Clemens back out.
Put me in, coach. 2nd and 7 after Brown's 3-yard pickup. Rivers back in the shotgun. Complete. Devontae Edwards. Preston Jackson on the coverage. Let's send it back down to Marty Snyder.
And Mike, there goes T.A. McClendon back on the field. The shoulder is wrapped very tightly. Jamie Call, the trainer, said it's your decision. If you want to go in, go for it. It's a matter of how much pain you can stand. This is a tough young guy.
He looked like he was really hurting before, but he tends to have, because he's been nicked up. He's one of those guys that kind of walks around and limping a little bit.
You know, all year long he's played. He's had an ankle. He's had a thigh. He's got broke his wrist. He's had a shoulder. He's been limping around most of the season.
He's got a 3rd and 3 right now. Rivers dumps it off to McClendon, but he drops the football.
McClendon had a long way to go if he catches that one. Wow.
Instead, 4th down, and NC State will punt.
Philip Rivers, he's smiling. He's having a good time.
Yeah, I was going to say
he should. It's a good start to 2003 for him. A nice little kiss there by Mike Goolsby. But it's almost like a little shot put in some of those short throws he makes.
Herbert will punt. Hasn't had one blocked this year, despite being inconsistent this season. And Duff is going to let it go. Notre Dame with pretty good field position. Well, they need some scores. 36-yard punt, and the Irish will take over at their 37, down 21-3. Notre Dame playing much better here in the 3rd quarter, but they've only been able to come away with the one set of field goal. Still trail 21-6. But they've done a much better job here in the 2nd half.
In the 2nd half, but at the end of the game, at the end of the day, you've got to punch the ball in for touchdowns down when you're trailing 21-6. And for Philip Rivers, I think they need to kind of ignite that offense again. They need to kind of let it out, throw the ball downfield some. They've been successful on their trick plays. They run more trick plays than any team I see.
Meanwhile, we talked so much about Rivers, and he's been so good in the offense. This North Carolina State defense is so impressive.
They got a lot of guys contributing. All those linebackers, 3 different defensive ends. Andre Maddox, the strong safety. Terrence Holt, the free safety.
Golden and Reed are back. Reed, as we said, has returned a couple for touchdowns. Golden does just about everything for this team. As we mentioned, starting at tailback, defensive back, return man.
Yeah, there he is. Started the first 4 games at tailback.
And he's only a sophomore. Another good kick from Seta. And the Wolfpack will start at their own 20.
Well, you mentioned Notre Dame kind of playing better this 2nd half. You see the 3rd quarter, 69 yards. Well, they only had 82 in the 1st half, so they have gotten it back. They've done a little bit more of the possessions, but field goals won't do it right now. But I think Philip Rivers and the offensive coordinator, Marty Galbraith, have to kind of get back in rhythm as well. This is not a team that I think cannot play aggressively. That's just their makeup.
Right. They are unstoppable in the 1st half. But the Notre Dame defense also deserves certainly much of the credit in the 3rd quarter. They've picked it up a bit.
Hard to blitz this team because they move so many people.
A quick handoff. And a few yards, McClendon.
Handoff to number 44. T.A. McClendon.
McClendon shaken up again.
Yeah, that left shoulder.
Now you wonder about, again, the smarts banged up. You love the kids wanting to play and going out there and playing hurt.
Well, the medical staff, you know, they give you the green light. So if they say he can play, it's not going to be a further injury, and a guy wants to go in, he's going to go in. But boy, he took an absolute shot on that direct hit on that left shoulder.
So Josh Brown comes in. Rivers goes into the shotgun on 2nd and 7. Looking midfield, incomplete. Intended for Edwards, broken up by Bible.
What a great job, though. Chris Comer, the left tackle, as you see McClendon off on the sideline, did protecting Philip Rivers. Watch down here. He just buries Justin Tuck. Justin Tuck's the Irish best pass rusher. And that's what he's been doing all year, this whole offensive line all year long. Chris Comer, number 70, right there. Big game.
Meanwhile, a big play from Garen Bible to break up. It's 3rd and 7 for Rivers. Notre Dame defense a bit inspired here in this 3rd quarter. Rivers hit. Cedric Hilliard.
He got right in the face of Philip Rivers. Cedric Hilliard's one of those guys, their nose tackle, size 16 shoe. You know, when they paint those helmets, he's the guy that, hey, they have to paint his helmet twice. He gets so many chips and dents on it. He's right in here. A little twist stunt. Yeah, he goes right through Scott Kustra. You know, they've been returning all day. Maybe they come with a punt block this time. Nope.
Herbert. Vontez Duff at the 41. Gets up to the 44. So Notre Dame will take over. Still a little over a quarter to play. 36-yard punt and a 3-yard return. Coming to NBC Fridays, Josh Brolin stars in the new NBC drama Mr. Sterling. That's Mr. Sterling, premiering a week from Friday at 8, 7 Central on NBC. Mr. Dillingham will walk back out on the field for the Irish. His numbers aren't going to blow you away, but he's playing better as the game goes along. It's not easy. Hasn't played in a while. Obviously, the team hasn't played in a month.
And he's a completely different style than Carlo Holiday.
And whistles and a quick flag.
I think we're going to see much more of Mr. McClendon today.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Let's get an update on McClendon. Marty Snyder, what do you got?
Yeah, Mike, you can see T.A. McClendon completely undressed behind the trainers there. Jeremy Call, the trainer, told me, he said, I'm making the call now. He's out for the game. He is definitely done now for the game.
All right, Marty. McClendon did have 2 short touchdown runs, but overall, the Notre Dame defense did a good job stopping him, one of the premier young running backs in the nation.
Well, they came in with 3 offensive stars, and they have not been able to stop 2 of them, Philip Rivers and Jericho Cotchery. They did do a good job on McClendon.
Grant this time hit behind the line of scrimmage, maybe gets back.
Well, you see that the third quarter's coming to a close, so Notre Dame needs some big passing plays. It's nice to see them establish the run a little bit better, run the ball some, but they need a guy to catch a pass, a 5 or 7 yard pass, and then run 30 yards with it.
Well, they've had big plays all season. One of the reasons they won 10 games, have not been able to get it here this afternoon as the third quarter winds down. Pat Dillingham, the former walk-on. The offense resting on his shoulders. 3 quarters complete here at the Gator Bowl. North Carolina State with a dominant first half. The Irish coming back strong here in the third quarter, but still an uphill climb.
Sing the 1812 overture, wave their hands, and this year, of course, they started waving them in a W to encourage Coach Willingham. But another one is when they go out of the locker room in Notre Dame Stadium, they tap the sign with the famous Ara Parsegan quote, "Play like a champion today." Well, what happens when you go on the road? You take the traveling version. They had one here in the locker room today, put it up. The guys all tapped it on the way out. And I'm also told, Mike, that if you want your very own, you can get the home version at the Notre Dame bookstore.
I've seen it there. And they sell.
I'm sure they sell quite well. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
2nd and 16. Dillingham complete. Omar Jenkins shy of the first down, but he gets into Wolfpack territory. We're about 3 yards shy.
Well, the Irish may not have played like a champion today just yet, but their band always does. Notre Dame band always plays like champion. Hey, those guys are good.
It has been a terrific atmosphere here at Alltel Stadium as Jenkins getting involved in the offense here in the third quarter. Boy, a lot of NC State fans have made the trek.
Yeah, a lot of red out there in the stands here. Whew.
As we said, this is a real program on the rise. Meanwhile, Notre Dame trying to get the offense on the rise. Dillingham hit and sacked. Andre Maddox again with another big play.
I don't know who's going to be named MVP for North Carolina State for this game, but they could give it to 5 or 6 different guys, and Maddox is definitely one of them. There's some of the red jerseys, or red in the crowd that you see. North Carolina State, about a 7-hour drive from here, and it looks like maybe 4 or 5 to 1 North Carolina State fans here, but Maddox gives them much to cheer about.
Bilbo back on to punt.
Too long for a fake punt.
Gets off a beauty. Thatcher's going to try and run it. And Reno McKnight. A penalty marker thrown.
Yeah. Maybe the old halo rule. You know it's really going badly for Notre Dame when they violate the halo rule.
Number 5, Raymond McKnight. Who's been 10, NC State.
So it goes against Notre Dame. It's a 39-yard punt. A good one from Hillbold. But once again, problems for Tyrone Willingham's team.
But you mentioned a little bit earlier, Mike,
Interference with the opportunity, violation of the halo rule. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
I'm looking at that. It looked like he had 2 yards to catch that ball.
No, wait.
I don't think.
I agree, Pat. That's not a violation. But it'll stand. And the Notre Dame defense once again looking to come up with a big play. The Toyota Gator Bowl is brought to you by Toyota. Get the feeling. Still 13.5 minutes remaining, fourth quarter in Jacksonville. Notre Dame trailing 21-6. And you just get the feeling that the Wolfpack offense, so potent in the first half, is due for a couple of plays, although they're without T.A. McClendon.
Defense has been just as good as their offense today.
Absolutely. But the Notre Dame defense with a strong third quarter. That's Burton, the tight end, in motion. Rivers under pressure. Complete. Peterson with the catch. Knocked out of bounds by Walton. Let's send it down to Marty Snyder.
All right, you guys talked about the loud NC State fans that are here. This is the sellout, the second fastest sellout in Gator Bowl history. Now, Raleigh is about 400 miles from here, but you would never know it where I'm standing. NC State sold 14,000 more seats than Notre Dame did. I can't hear myself, so I don't know if a play's going on or what, but Mike, back to you.
I'm sorry, Marty, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again? Devontae Edwards with the reception and close to a first down. Walton throws him out of bounds again.
Well, you know, it's amazing to me. Notre Dame has been playing football for 115 years. They're an independent, and yet this is the first time these two teams have met. Another injury to an Irish player, Mike Goolsby, their outstanding middle linebacker. So it's surprising this is the very first meeting between these two programs. Chuck Amato saying that he really wants to create a long-term program. Wants North Carolina State to be known not just for its basketball teams, but for its outstanding football. You know, he's had 3 good years. It's not just this one. You know, he's 25-12 as a 3-year head coach there. As we said, beat Florida State last year in Tallahassee. Beat Florida State at home this year. Big rival of North Carolina. Beat them.
Of course, he was before he went to Florida State, was an assistant here with the Wolfpack after, as we said earlier, being a player, football player, and a wrestler. But, you know, dream to come true to come back.
He was kind of passed over 3 times for the head coaching job. Very disappointed, but they got it right this time.
Meanwhile, Goolsby, yet another Notre Dame player hurt.
Goolsby's right there, number 41. Boy, clean block by Scott Koolstra, but that's 325 pounds that fell on top of him.
Goolsby, the junior, who has had a real strong season. And you see Kusterwood checking out with some nice sportsmanship as Goolsby gets up.
Well, Notre Dame has played a very, very difficult schedule this year. Started with playing against a good Maryland team, as we saw last night. Ending the season against a very good North Carolina State team. And in between, they didn't duck anybody.
Had the 8-0 start. Boston College was a tough loss. Bounced back after that, but then a rough game against Southern Cal. One that, as we said earlier, left a bad taste in their mouth. One of the players said, we have something to prove. They're trying their best, but they've, as you mentioned, Pat, come up against a very talented football team in the Wolfpack.
Philip Rivers got him off sides. And then this is a great play.
Kotri! He caught it! Oh, what a great catch from Kotri. Let's see what the penalty's on.
It's offside. This is a fantastic call. Oklahoma does the same thing. University of Oklahoma. On those 3rd and short, if you get them offsides, you have a freebie. And it's exactly, and you throw it
offside on the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Again, Mike, you see everything from this North. You have to defend so many things. Remember the fumble, Ruski? 3rd one, get him offsides. Now he knows he has a freebie. So it was supposed to be a quarterback sneak. As soon as he sees them off sides, then he throws the deep ball. Oklahoma did that very successfully in their national championship season a couple of years ago. Great execution.
And Kotri with his 7th catch. He's quietly having a superb game.
Yeah, and he's had a superb season. All ACC receiver, over 1,000 yards. God, I love that call and that execution.
Josh Brown, the tailback, splits far right. Rivers, quick throw to Kotry. Breaks a tackle. Breaks another one. Breaks a third one. And finally brought down by Brandon Hoyt. But another first down for the Wolfpack.
You know, I haven't seen Notre Dame miss this many tackles many times this year. Yes, they had it in rough against Southern Cal again today, but they are missing a lot of tackles because A, they've been on the field so doggone long, and B, these are some talented players. Kotry's back next year as well, only a junior. Kent Baer, the defensive coordinator, boy, what a tough assignment he has drawn today.
One of the most potent offenses in the nation. North Carolina State, they stalled a bit there in the third, but looking alive now. Ball's at 22. Rivers going for the end zone. Overthrew Peterson. Walton with some good coverage.
That little corner route, one-on-one against Shane Walton, had him. And had plenty of time. Again, fantastic protection for Rivers. One of the first poor throws, really, by Phillip Rivers with an open man for a touchdown. Jed Paulson at center. Riggs and Locklear at the guards. And Kustra and Comer really have had a magnificent game, Mike. Really magnificent.
Putting an exclamation point on what has been a terrific season for that front line.
Again, that movement that takes off the edge on a safety blitz or a linebacker blitz because everybody had to move.
Brown on the handoff. Brown, nice move. And but not before he gets down to the 12. Glenn Earl, the tackle.
When Glenn Earl hits you, you go down. But what a nice run by Josh Brown.
He's a complete different look than McClendon.
Absolutely. Quicker. Can dance around. One more time, good blocking. We've seen great passes. Look at the job up there, the drive blocks by Jed Paulson, in particular, the center. A great block by Paulson and Locklear. And then some nice moves by Josh Brown. Then he gets drilled by Glenn Earl.
NC State trying for a touchdown. And although it's still early in the fourth, the touchdown here could just put this one out of reach.
Well, the way their defense is playing, you're absolutely right.
The handoff again. Brown. Ooh. Still going. Gets down to the 7-yard line. Well, he was hit hard by Justin Tuck, but it wouldn't knock him down.
Yeah, and by Glenn Earl. Then we've been raving about the way Glenn Earl tackles as well, but he just runs right through those guys. Justin Tuck, first he gets through the tackle of Brandon Hoyt. Watch number 19, that sure tackle. That's a solid tackler that he ran through his. So Josh Brown has some, movement. You got some deft, quick feet. But he's got some power as well, as you just saw on that run.
I like what Amato says. Josh Brown's as quick as a hiccup. 2nd and 5, ball at the 7. Rivers.
Oh, boy.
Under some pressure, lobs it. A little too high for Kotry is Hilliard. Campbell with a good pressure.
Edwards on the other side, though, Mike, was wide open. Devontae Edwards, number 14, in the right corner. Easy touchdown. So Phillip Rivers does a great job of seeing most of the field. But watch over here. Watch what happens. There he is right there. It's open by a good 5-6 yards.
Hey, you can't blame Rivers, though, for looking Kotry.
I don't think you're right.
The way he's been playing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
3rd down and 5. Touchdown, the tight end, Sean Burton.
You have to worry about tight ends and wide receivers and backs and quarterbacks and figure out a way to get through a stout offensive line. You put all those things together. This is just a tough team to beat. I'm surprised they lost 3 games.
3 close games in a row. They bounced back beautifully with a victory over Florida State. And now capping it off with a dominant performance here in the Gator Bowl. Burton with his 2nd touchdown of the season. Phillip Rivers with his second touchdown pass of the game.
And when you have a big tight end, 6'4", Sean Burton, I mean, that is a terrific target. He's down here left of the screen. Patient throw, good read by Phillip Rivers, and he's read so well all day long. And you can only have one happy team and a pretty happy coach.
A superb performance from Chuck Amato's Wolfpack. Well, 28 points might not get it done for arena football. Certainly get it done in the Gator Bowl.
That's a first quarter score in arena football. You know, I spent about 3 hours with Ed Hotchkiss, the head coach of the LA Avengers last week, and I want to tell you, this is an exciting brand of football. I mean, it's so, where else do you see 7 onside kicks in a game? You know, it's just incredible. You score within 3 seconds. A lot of points put on the board. Notre Dame would like to borrow a few of those right now.
Absolutely. Still a pretty good number for North Carolina State. So impressive once again. So Kiker will kick off. Duff and Battle back once again. Montez Duff at the 1. They'll turn up to the 27-yard line where the Irish will take over.
You know, Tyrone Willingham has had a great season. The last 2 games, as you can see, has been very, very difficult. They ran into a red-hot USC and Carson Palmer and a very, very good North Carolina State team. Still 10 wins for Tyrone Willingham, something to build on next year. He's going to have to get, and he expects a lot more production out of the West Coast offense next year. And I expect Carlo Holiday to be a 20 or 30% better player next year in this offense.
It's the most wins for a first-year head coach at Notre Dame. Most wins for an Irish squad since '93. Nice pass. Jenkins gets a running start. And Jenkins gets up near the 40. Terrence Hope on the tackle. And he'll have a good bunch to work with.
Oh, yeah. You like to start with Montez Duff. Ryan Grant had over 1,000 yards. Holiday coming on. Omar Jenkins, a very, very good receiver. Justin Tuck, as a pass rusher, I think, could have an All-American year next year. He's that good, that quick off the ball. And Jared Clark should add a weapon at tight end.
Dillingham complete to midfield. Stovall on the reception. Hudson makes the tackle. Well, 2 examples of how good Willingham is. Not only the turnaround here at Notre Dame, but what's happened at Stanford since he's left.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the guys we didn't have on that board was Jeff Fain, the center. And undetermined, he's eligible to come back next year. And he's had an incredible career and another great season. And we talked to him yesterday, and he's petitioned the NCAA, which he's allowed to do, to figure out, hey, where he might get drafted, number 52. And actually, that letter has been sent. His parents, who live here in Florida, have received the letter and know that information, but did not tell Jeff before the game. They want to wait until after the game. But he said to us yesterday, if I'm going to be a 1st or 2nd round draft pick, that I don't anticipate coming back. And the way he's played this year, Mike, I certainly expect him to be number 1 or number 2.
He's the heart of that offensive line. As Dillingham gets the first down. Again, an offensive line that they're missing their 2 starting tackles today, and there's no question that made a difference. Is Jordan Black and Brennan Curtin, both not here, as we said earlier, non-football student affairs decisions. That's all the university would tell us, but they're not playing, and although the backups have done a solid job all season, it makes a difference. Penalty marker. Dillingham complete. Mark Jared Clark, the backup tight end, and it continues down to the 28.
He'll be a weapon next year, Jared Clark, I think.
So we'll see what the flag is.
You know, good teams, Mike, have real good leadership in the offensive line. Notre Dame, Sean Mahan was elected one of the permanent captains, number 79 for the Irish, one of the permanent captains at their banquet this year. So they've gotten great play out of Jeff Fain and great leadership out of Sean Mahan.
And just, let's hear from
illegal shift. 2 men moving at the same time. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still first down.
And just the attitude he's brought back, and so many of the fans he's brought back.
But, you know, Bob Davie didn't leave an empty,
nope, not
empty cover. There is a lot of good players here.
It's not an easy place to coach. Ball batted down, nearly picked off. Pat Thomas right there.
What a surprise. I'd hand out 7 Player of the Game awards to North Carolina State players, and he'd get one of them. And that might not be enough.
It has been a team effort. You know, we talk about turning around what Chuck Amato's done in such a short time. Watch Thomas just not stop pursuit.
Somebody, you know, it's amazing. A guy like that's had that kind of day and nobody blocked him. You would think, hey, let's find out where number 52 is and make sure we get at least 1 blue jersey on him, maybe 2. Wow.
2nd and 15. Pressure. Dillingham gets it to McKnight, and he is hit right away.
Andre Maddox both rushed the passer and made the tackle on the same play. Unbelievable. This guy is incredible. North Carolina State has an interesting game next September. I think they go to Columbus and play Ohio State, which will be interesting.
That's what you got to do. They go downfield for McKnight. Oh, beautiful catch from McKnight. Did he hold on? It appeared incomplete, and that's the ruling. Lamont Reed right there on the coverage. McKnight said he caught it, was down.
That's what we talked about, using your hands. And I think he's a freshman receiver, but he's a talented one. If you go up and get it with your hands, you know, you're going to secure the ball. I think he kind of waited for it to get to his stomach. No, I take that back. That's all he could do on that play. That's just a good play by Lamont Reed. Yeah, that's a good defensive play. McKnight made a good effort on it, but Reed was a little bit better.
So 4th down with 8:43 remaining here in this 4th quarter. He'll throw. Got the first down. No, he's just shy. Maurice Stovall. They tried the trick play and just fell short. Rod Johnson's got a couple of interceptions, made the play.
That was kind of a nice play. You know, it was 4th and 14, but they had the punt block on. Everybody comes in. Good throw to Stovall. And had it been 4th and 10, he would have made it, but it was 4th and 14.
So NC State will take over. They have been command throughout. 28-6 with 8:39 remaining.
And now what Tyrone Willingham and Chuck Amato hoping for is to get through this game without getting any of your players hurt. I've already had enough hurt.
This offense has set records this year for points, for total yards, for first downs, a number of individual marks. Rivers going downfield for Patry. Overthrows.
That was that double move on Vontez Duff that we talked about at the very top. It said to us, Vontez Duff, good corner, but he bites. And they try to double move him, Jericho Cotchery, but Vontez Duff was not fooled on that one. Good coverage.
Compete for one of the most
Rivers, meanwhile, who's been so accurate today.
March 23rd and March 30th.
He enjoys, he gets a rest when he gets on the football field. Rivers, who married his grade school sweetheart, they just had a baby girl. So he gets more rest when he's out on the football field sometimes.
Very mature young guy.
Complete to Burton.
You know, it was nice meeting Phillip Rivers yesterday, and he walked in a room, big smile on his face, has a great presence about him. Really mature. Chuck Amato said, you know, he came here, he was 18 years old, going on 30. He's that kind of maturity to him. When was the last time you saw a high school coach whose son was the nose tackle? Aren't they always the quarterback? I want to meet one high school coach who's his son's nose tackle.
Rivers, meanwhile, his backup, Jay Davis, when his wife was pregnant, when Rivers' wife was pregnant, was hoping that she would have triplets, so he'd had to go to the NFL to get the money. But he's got another year at NC State.
And he said he's coming back.
Third and 4. Lobs it down for Edwards.
Oh, man. Boy.
Vontez Duff on the coverage. Edwards just couldn't get there.
There have been a lot of open wide receivers, and again, this defense has been on the field an awful long time. And Vontez Duff, Shane Walt, 2 really good corners. It's been a rough day. I don't, Shane Walton, actually, we haven't called his number much because I think he's done a pretty good job of covering his guys, but it's been Vontez Duff who the Wolfpacks picked on.
So on 4th down, they will punt.
Real good group, real good people, and a real good price. Rick Dixon,
Duff is back.
the real deal.
Low kick, but it'll sail into the end zone. So Notre Dame will take over at their own 20. But today, it's been North Carolina State.
1st and 10, Notre Dame.
28-6 here late in the 4th. The Wolfpack on the verge of their 11th win of the season. 10 wins was a school record. Chuck Amato's team just adding to it with a dominant performance.
In every phase. And a lot of these guys coming back. And so they're very sanguine about next year's team.
Powers Neal, it's maybe a yard.
I expected to be impressed by their offense, Mike, but I've been equally impressed, if not more so, with the defensive play. They rush the passer well. They stuff the run. They've got good lockdown corners.
They have great athletes. That pass complete.
Nice catch.
Jared Clark with a nice haul in. Up to about 32. Good for a 1st down.
And for the Irish next year, although they had a really good season with the 10 wins, it's kind of a tough end of the season for them with these last two ball games. But for them to get better, they're going to have to get a lot better on offense. And a lot of that is the Carlisle Holiday's performance. How much better can he get next year in this West Coast offense?
Holiday out early in this game with a shoulder injury, did not return, and that put Notre Dame behind right from the get-go.
The other thing is Julius Jones coming back. Julius Jones did not play for Notre Dame this year, sat out the year, was at Arizona State, and he has to petition the school. I'm told he wants to come back to Notre Dame, but he's got to petition the school. Have done well at Arizona State, and if they let him in, Tyrone Willingham will have a very good running back with Julius Jones back and Ryan Grant back.
Both these teams will be heard from next year. And that pass complete. Maddox again in on the tackle as Stovall with the reception. Tough assignment for Dillingham to step in today, especially with the way this defense has played. Under pressure again.
No receivers working back to him.
Nearly picked off. Marcus Hudson got a couple of fingers on it. Intended for Stovall.
But Mike, you've seen enough games. You've got to have the receivers working back to a scrambling quarterback, particularly one who doesn't have a giant arm. And nobody did on that play.
So Notre Dame is going to finish the season at 10-3, and you said earlier it shouldn't take away certainly 2 very disappointing losses to end. But I think most people realize what this man has done and the way he's turned it around.
And it's going to be interesting to see what maybe his 3rd edition team. He's got a lot of these guys coming back, so we know what edition 2 looks like. But edition 3 will be very interesting when he gets some really his kind of players. He didn't recruit most of these players. He inherited some good ones.
That's complete to Clark. His 2nd reception. Hudson on the tackle. But they get the 1st down in North Carolina State territory. There's your time remaining. Dillingham fumbles it. Trying, intercepted. Johnson.
Johnson again.
3rd interception of the game.
Unbelievable. He has more receptions than a lot of those Notre Dame wide receivers.
Just another in the long line of guys who could get player of the game for you.
Yeah, exactly. Add him to the list, too. An Irish player injured. Started with a drop ball and ended up with an interception. Wasn't a very good beginning or an end to that play. But, you're down. You're trying to give Stovall a chance. Rod Johnson just playing, Willie Mays out there in center field. Makes his 3rd interception. An Irish player down on the 20-yard line.
That's been an all too familiar sight for Notre Dame today. Dillingham with his 3rd interception.
There's one thing Carlisle Holiday didn't do much is turn the ball over. Right. 10 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, and I believe that is Pat Dillingham's 6th interception of the year. Nice to see Maurice Stovall up.
Now number 7.
7, excuse me, 7. Yeah, so Carlisle Holiday protected the ball much better than Pat Dillingham has.
And it's just to beat a team of North Carolina State's caliber with a backup quarterback, with all due respect to Dillingham, it's just so tough to do.
Well, there's 10 other teams that didn't. The starting quarterbacks.
Right. Rivers stays in. Brown, maybe a couple of yards before Buttonsack makes the tackle.
Stop behind the line of scrimmage. By number 20.
NC State was happy to run time off the clock in what has been a very impressive performance. Today's 1st and 10 line brought to you by Toyota.
Is a proud sponsor of the 50s.
Plenty of 1st and 10s for the Wolfpack offense. All season long they've been strong. And that one little stretch, the tough 3-game stretch, but they've recovered nicely. Brown quickly taken down to the 46. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
Well, I have found Bob Gunner, the grandfather of Philip Rivers, and he is the biggest Notre Dame fan here with the red shirt on. And talk about the way your grandson has done today. He's done a terrific job out there.
He's been playing terrific, is right, and I'm so proud of him. This is a really big game for him. I know he was looking forward to it, as I was.
Now, you were such a big Notre Dame fan. You took him to see the movie Rudy. Now, was your allegiance swaying towards the green today at all?
Not until they played the band. I was for the band.
You were pulling for the band, but when the football team came out, it was all red and Wolfpack.
Tomorrow I'll pull for Notre Dame, but today I couldn't.
Today, his allegiance is very true to his grandson, Philip Rivers, and he's done an outstanding job today. Here's the Rivers family, his dad, his grandmother, kids, everything. The Rivers family is all here.
All right, Marty. Grandpa saw, again, that first game way back in November of '51. Had to scalp a ticket. Cost him $5 to get in.
Yeah, well, you can't do that today, I promise. Well, he's a fine young man. He's Philip Rivers. Good player, too. Good football player.
Notre Dame wished that Rivers had that recurring dream he has. They wish it came true. Rivers says he has that dream. He's had it for years. On game day, he can't get to the game. Yeah. Sometimes he's stuck in traffic. Sometimes he can't find his equipment.
Mm-hmm.
He says he wakes up in a sweat. So 3rd and 13. Rivers steps up, tosses it, complete. Cotchery again. Jericho Cotchery, a terrific game. Coming to NBC February 2nd, it's the high-octane-powered Arena Football League. Don't miss the rematch of last year's Arena Bowl as San Jose takes on Arizona. Arizona quarterback Sherdrick Bonner looks to continue his assault on the AFL record books, approaching the all-time AFL touchdown passing record. And trust me, that's a lot of touchdowns as the Rattlers look to avenge their crushing defeat at last year's Arena Bowl. Rematch against the champion Sabercats. Plus regional action all beginning February 2nd, only on NBC. On first down, Cotchery again.
I think it's time for North Carolina State just to run this clock out.
Yep.
Let's put the pass in the pocket, run this thing out. Don't get anybody hurt to affect next season. There's been a lot of good coaching jobs done around the country this year. Two of those coaches today. Chuck Amato, Tyrone Willingham, both in double digits wins.
The question now for Amato is, will he cry after the game?
Can't tell with the sunglasses. He's a very emotional guy. I mean, he said he was talking to us this week about playing against Notre Dame. It was the biggest game in North Carolina State history.
Amato cried when he got the job. He cried when he first beat Florida State. And you see, you talked about this earlier, Pat.
Changing into guard. Virginia, good ACC team, beats a real good West Virginia team. Wake Forest over Oregon. How about at Wake Forest? Maryland. Clemson lost, but Georgia Tech lost. It looks like the Wolfpack are going to win here today. So the ACC, everybody thinks about it as a basketball conference, but they've played very, very good football. Really, the last couple of years. Florida State, we've all known about, but it's really it's the Marylands, it's the North Carolina States, the Wake Forest. It's those teams that are really on the rise.
And you said a lot of basketball championships, including the Wolfpack back in '83 under the late Jim Valvano. And that pass incomplete. The pressure as Rivers is hit by Budensack.
See, it looked like Justin Tuck gave him a little late shot, and then I think his center, Jed Paulson, came back to protect his quarterback. So it started with a hit by Rivers by Justin Tuck. He thought, he being Jed Paulson, the center, thought it was a little late and came up and pushed Justin Tuck.
This is you and your family. Happy at Prosperous School.
So the frustration a little bit for Notre Dame, and maybe, Pat, they might not be happy with 28-6 and Rivers is still throwing the football.
Well, I agree with it. I think now's the time to run the thing out. I mean, you've got this game clearly in hand. 3:43 left. Watch at the end of the play here. With Budensack and Tuck. Nothing late there. That's not late, but it comes up a little bit later. Tuck does that to him. That's what Jed Paulson was upset about.
And absolutely no need for that. But I do agree with you. There's no need to be throwing a football downfield right now for Amato. He felt obviously a penalty should have been called there. So 4th down. Here in the final minutes of what has been a dominating performance for the NC State Wolfpack in their first ever meeting with Notre Dame. Throws it downfield, incomplete.
I don't like that call, but
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So maybe a little extra frustration.
You know, it's fine to beat a team, but you don't want to embarrass them. They clearly haven't beaten 28-6.
So Notre Dame will take over on downs. A long afternoon for the Fighting Irish because of the excellence of the Wolfpack. 28-6, North Carolina State in command as they've been throughout. And coming up next on NBC, Mataba Life presents Brian Boitano's Skating Spectacular. Join Olympic gold medalist Boitano and fellow Olympic heroes Christy Yamaguchi, Nancy Kerrigan, and more for this New Year's Day extravaganza on ice. Plus, don't miss a special appearance by short track speed skating gold medalist Apollo Anton Ono. Mataba Life presents Brian Boitano's Skating Spectacular coming up next on NBC. As Arnell's Battle gets up.
And you know what? Nice career for Arnez Battle at Notre Dame. Came in from Louisiana, got put in some real tough situations, including when he was a freshman, was it? I think it was a freshman year. He had to play quarterback at Notre Dame, wasn't quite ready for it. Had some good games at quarterback, broke his wrist, change of position, change of coaches. And in spite of all, he's kept his nose to the grindstone, worked hard, and had a very solid season.
Wibsack with a hit. Let's go back down to Dave Snyder. Dave Burns, excuse me, Dave.
Yeah, that's all right. Marty and I are good friends. But, you know, the Fain story that you talked about, Jeff Fain, the second-team All-American center who is possibly going to go to the NFL. You guys mentioned earlier he sent his letter to the advisory board, or his request to the NCAA advisory board to find out whether or not he might have good prospects in the NFL this year. Now, they send letters out back to the families, and we thought maybe the parents had received that letter with the information. Well, they've been here since Monday. The letter might be at home. They don't know yet.
All right, Dave. Fain, by the way, we talk about guys who were Notre Dame fans growing up, and there's almost an interception. Fain is one of those guys who was a Florida State fan growing up. In fact, went to a place called Seminole High School. Will love Bobby Bowden, but decided to go to the Golden Dome.
And we're at that point of the game where guys are almost intercepting the pass where we don't have their numbers. We don't have their names or numbers. Well, we have his numbers, 20. And you can get the feeling he's kind of a popular guy in the team because when he missed that interception, there's a lot of guys in the sideline that were really pulling for him. But he's not on the depth chart.
That's complete to Jared Clark. They're fired up on the sidelines for guys who have no doubt put a lot of practice time in.
You know, you have a first team, you have a second team, you have a third team, and all those guys are listed on the roster. Number 20 is not on any of those teams because he's not on the roster. But he got in.
Dillingham complete to Battle. And he's taken down at about the 34. Marty Snyder, your turn.
Yeah, there's 26,500 NC State fans here. A lot of them obviously from the state of North Carolina. I just had one of them yell at me, isn't Jeff Gordon hosting Saturday Night Live in a couple of weeks? Indeed, he is. January the 11th, 11:35 on your NBC station. And I can't wait to see what kind of jokes they play on him because, you know, we have to work with him a lot. Dave and I do. And, you know, he's in need of a few jokes played his way.
We'll find out, Marty. Ronnie Rodimer with his first reception. 2.5 remaining in what has been just a glorious day for NC State football, capping off their best season ever. Dillingham going for the end zone. Intended for McKnight.
I thought the best story in football this year in the country, though, and I don't know the exact names. You follow the story of the high school kid in Ohio. He was a disabled young man, and he was a senior. Came out for every game, every practice. At the last game of the year, they gave the ball, and both teams allowed him to score the touchdown. It was just a fabulous story.
He was in a dry eye in the stadium, and both coaches deserve credit for putting that ahead of everything else. And you love about the team that was playing defense were on the verge of a shutout.
Yes.
And they were a great defensive
Absolutely.
team. Took pride in their shutouts, and they gave it up so they could give this young man a special moment.
Yeah, that's what I thought about when I saw number 20 there for North Carolina State.
Dillingham under pressure. Battle with a nice catch. Taken out of bounds at about the 12.
Well, I'll tell you, there's another Irish fan who's going to be disappointed. Condoleezza Rice, National Security Advisor, is here as a friend of Tyrone Willingham. They were at Stanford together. She was here for the last couple of days with the Irish team. She may have been commuting back and forth to Washington for all I know, but she was here for a New Year's Eve celebration in the game today.
There'll be a lot of those in red celebrating tonight here in Jacksonville. Battle with the catch. Holt quickly brings him down.
Pass complete to number 3, Arnold Battle.
They've already started on the sideline.
He's still getting congratulated.
And it all starts with the head coach who's turned this around, Chuck Amato.
Yeah, it's Sinford. Hey, you got to turn around so we know who he is. It's Sinford.
Take the helmet off.
Yeah, there you go.
Boy.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, boy. Hey, Nathan. Boy. Yep, there's a roughing the passer penalty.
So a late hit there. Corey Dawson coming in. Let's go back down to Marty.
His name is Joe Sinford. He is a walk-on, and his nickname on the team is honestly Rudy. They've called him Rudy ever since he walked onto the team, and Phillip Rivers ran to the band, started the chant, Rudy, Rudy, and they all cheered him on. What a great moment for a walk-on to be able to intercept the ball here late in the Gator Bowl.
And Pat Dillingham is hurt. He just got smacked. And remember, certainly they do not want Chris Olsen, their guy they're trying to redshirt. But Pat Dillingham was very shaken up after that last play.
But he'll stay in the game. Just 1:38 remaining. Notre Dame trying to punch it in with a score here. First and goal after 3. McNair and gets down near the 1.
Stopped by Oliver Hoyt, number 48 for the Wolfpack, a freshman. And yeah, Chuck Amato does not want them to give up a touchdown. But Oliver Hoyt has big time written all over him, so he'll replace D'Antonio Burnett. And nobody's ever going to replace those sunglasses. 9-0 now with those.
That's right. Amato, by the way, he didn't really want to go to State when he was a high school linebacker growing up in Easton, Pennsylvania. His older brother was there, and his older brother was one of those guys who was always doing good things, and he was tired of following in his footsteps, but decided to go anyway. And what a difference he's made in that program in a number of different ways, and now is the head coach on a program that is certainly on the rise. McNair stopped. Another great goal line stand. This time with a lot of the reserves.
Yeah, it's Oliver Hoyt, number 48, who's subbing right now for D'Antonio Burnett, the guy who stopped Notre Dame earlier in the game that we talked so much about.
Hoyt's just a freshman, one of those guys who looks up to Burnett, who they say is going to be a very good player.
Just got drilled. That was by Lawson, I think, number 91.
Dillingham tries it. And Dillingham calls timeout as Amato gets wet.
You know, you don't mind that as a coach. You know, he tasted to make sure it was the proper flavor Gatorade that he likes the most. But you know when that's happening, you've won the ball game. So as cold as you are, you're happy about it.
Many will feel the biggest win in North Carolina State football history. Their 11th win of the season as they just add to a record-setting year.
Well, so the math major put enough numbers on the board today.
Well, he says Italians cry when they're happy. I have a feeling they're going to see some tears. As you said earlier, NC State, they won that basketball national championship years ago. The way this team's going, they're going to vie for a national championship someday.
Well, he's got recruited 22 players from the state of Florida. North Carolina plays very good high school football as well, so he's going to have a talent pool, and clearly, as we saw today, they can coach him once they get him.
And you love the way the team bounced back. The 3 tough losses to Georgia Tech, Maryland, and Virginia. They have the great victory over Florida State, and then now dominate Notre Dame. Grant hit and stopped
on 4th down.
And that is a fitting end for the NC State defense. And perhaps as well for the Notre Dame offense.
This North Carolina State defense did it in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and now to preserve at least the touchdown shutout. Notre Dame did score 2 field goals. They rise to the occasion again. Lawson, Hoyt, and a team of others.
And George Anderson as well.
It'll be interesting to see what position Lawson plays next year. Could be a tight end, could be a wide receiver, could be a linebacker, defensive end.
NC State calls timeout.
Just a couple of kneel downs.
That's all you need.
Yeah. Just a kneel down.
What a great day for Phillip Rivers. Capping off the superb season. And Rivers will be back for his senior year. It'll be tough to top what he did this season, but he's got a lot of his guys back with him.
I see Jay Davis is in, hopefully going to, in a quarterback and take 1 snap, kneel down, game over.
And Davis just goes forward, pushes up a little bit. A tough day for Notre Dame. NC State now 11-3 this season. Notre Dame falls to 10-3.
That'll do it. Well, indeed, a happy new year for the Wolfpack.
The finishing touches on the best season in the program's history. Chuck Amato's team dominates the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Dump one in for Tyrone Willingham. Meanwhile, for Amato, he's right now with our Marty Snyder.
And a smiling, non-crying Chuck Amato as he gets a couple of hugs. And is that the biggest win in NC State history, Coach?
It's a big one. It's a huge win. You know, I'll tell you what even makes it bigger is the last 2 wins we've had, the defense hasn't allowed us a touchdown in 120 minutes of football against Florida State and against Notre Dame University. The University of Notre Dame And that's what even makes it bigger, is that we're making leaps and we're getting better, and these kids just played their butt off, and I can't say enough about it.
Is that the best game this team played all year long, Coach?
Oh, it was a good one. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you saw the one we played against Florida State, but that was pretty daggone good too. You know, it's been this way all year long. You know, you beat this team, and well, you still play a soft schedule, and you beat that team, and all the wins we've had were big, but again, because of the team, of the history that Notre Dame has, and what they've done and what they've meant. They won 75% of all the games they've ever played. This is huge.
If Italians do indeed cry when they're happy, I believe there's going to be a few tears shed tonight, Mike.
All right, Marty. So a great day for NC State, for Notre Dame. Tough ending to what was a wonderful turnaround season.
8 guys on offense, 8 guys on defense coming back. They'll be a better football team next year. I'm not sure they're going to win 10 games, but they'll be a better football team.
All right, Pat. Happy New Year.
And to you.
Once again, our final score from Alltel Stadium in Jacksonville. The 2003 Gator Bowl, North Carolina State 28, Notre Dame 6. Now stay tuned for Brian Boitano's Skating Spectacular coming up next here on NBC. The 11th win of the season, most ever for NC State football. For Pat Hayden, Dave Burns, Marty Snyder, producer Jim Bell, director Jeff Simon, and our entire crew, this is Mike Breen saying so long from Jacksonville.